culture united. Our culture united. Our culture united. Our culture united. Connecting all over the world. Connecting all over the world. Connecting all over the world. Connecting all over the world.
Word up, word up, word up. Thank you again tuning in live. The 12th episode of Culture United. This was I don't even know if it was a labor of love. It was actually a random occurrence that we started last year, and I've had a whole lot of fun hosting over the past year. So thank you guys for joining us. As longtime watchers of this show, or at least people who've been watching my channel for a while, this past week I started doing daily live streams. So I've been going live on Mondays and Tuesdays with the Company Man shows. And every Wednesday going forward will now be Culture United Wednesdays. And so we've always had a rolling cascade of different thought leaders, artists, YouTubers, journalists, actors. There's been all kinds of people who've been on this show at one point in time. So we're going to continue that going forward and on a more regular basis. And so I'm looking forward to that. 1 second applause to me. And also two updates. So we had two panelist changes in the past 90 minutes. And so big shout out to Rascast, my brother Rascast. He had a scheduling conflict he wasn't aware of, so he'll be on next Wednesday. So Rascast will be here next Wednesday. And Chilling with Moni. Send positive energy to Chilling with Moni. She had an emergency today as well. So we have two new panelists that'll be joining us today. And I will introduce the first one. I'm a big fan of her podcast, of her YouTube channel. It's called the Look at the Material podcast. She went viral earlier this year with a video about how hip hop has been red-pilled. I think she is effortlessly knowledgeable about not only music and culture, but just what it's like to be alive right now and see all the fuck shit that's going on around us. I think she calls it out wonderfully, succinctly, and impactfully. 9 second applause for BK joining us for the first time.
What's up?
Word up.
Awesome. What's up, everybody? I'm BK. I'm representing Shreveport, Louisiana. Everywhere I go, the South always got something to say, and I'm always running my mouth. So I'm very excited to be here today. I've watched basically all the Culture United live streams and a lot of y'all's content in general on the panel. So I'm excited to be here. Thanks for inviting.
No, thank you for having me, or thank you for joining us. Excuse me. And replacing Rascast this week, returning champion, the OVO final boss, the author of one of my favorite rollouts this year, actually. He has brought the maxi single into the digital era, and one of the more brilliant minds in music and marketing that I've had the pleasure to meet and become friends with over my journey. The one and only Glasses Malone. 9 second applause.
Man, logging my way through, man. You know the ordeal.
Word up, man. Thanks for joining me again. Also joining this panel today, returning champion to the panel today, just dropped a fantastic video on Charlie Kirk and the White Death Cult. I'd say he is the leading video essayist in the culture space, not even just in the hip hop space. And now he is a media maven of his own with multiple channels, racking up hundreds of thousands and millions of views of video. The one and only FD Signifier. 9 second applause.
What's going on, y'all? Thank you for having me. It's been a while. I'm happy to come back and talk people copying my video essays or documentaries, but we'll wait.
We're gonna start with that one first because I was in your version of it, and I feel like I've seen this new one already. Also returning champion, the face of Uprocks. I think it's fair to say the face of Uprocks at this point in time. I mean, he's got 2 shows on Uprocks. He was a founder of The Bigger Picture. I guess rest in peace, The Bigger Picture. Super talented journalist, extremely hardworking media personality, and someone who I personally just really respect the care and grace that he has for the culture. The one and only Jeremy Hecht. 9 second applause.
Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate that. And I'm excited for today. We have a great panel. Like I respect and love the content of everybody here. And I think perfect panel for these topics. So I'm excited to be here.
Word up, word up. Thanks for joining me, man. And back again, laid back, chilling, straight out of Atlanta, straight out of Shady Aftermath. Never shies away from confrontation, maybe controversy. I don't even know what's right to say shies away from confrontation, but it's always quotable wherever he goes. Great friend of mine, incredible MC, incredible music business leader and executive. Stat Quo is with us. 9-second applause.
Let's hope I don't say anything to make anybody mad today. That's what I want. It's my goal. I don't want to make nobody mad.
1 second applause for not making nobody mad.
Exactly.
All right, man. So we're wrapping up 2025 here, getting ready for 2026. And I feel like there's still some old news that's being presented in a new way. And the biggest story this week has been 50 Cent's Diddy documentary. Fiddy's Diddy doc is now the #1 movie documentary, #1 anything on Netflix. And I want to get each of your reactions to this documentary, whether you've seen it or not, or whether, just the idea that there's now a 9th Diddy documentary. I've been talking about this on my channel, and I've told them basically I'm Diddy'd out, but I did watch this today. So what do you guys think about this? We'll start with you, FD.
Yeah, so we texted a little bit back and forth. I guess that was this morning. And my wife had brought it to my attention yesterday, or maybe over the weekend, that the Diddy doc was happening from 50, that he had been kind of threatening from jump, and that the scope of it seemed to have evolved into something that sounded really familiar. And I just asked other people, and they were like, yeah, it did remind me a lot of your video, which I don't like. It is what it is. Like, at the end of the day, the story is the story, and like, it's not necessarily an original idea to say, well, what was the state of hip hop at the time of Diddy's reign? But I think Diddy'd out is probably a solid statement, because like I came home from the gym.
That's crazy.
I turned it. I came home from the gym, after eating a little bit, I turned it on, and after about 20 minutes, I was playing Madden. I was like, I guess I'll come back to this maybe later, and I didn't. And it's just because, like, one, the end of the legal aspect of this left me feeling away. I am at my core abolitionist, so I'm never like, we should give motherfuckers as much time as possible. But I was frustrated with like the cultural narrative shifting. And so unless this documentary is going to do something to like solidify the narrative around Diddy in terms of like his abuses and his crimes, I'd rather get a nap in and see if I can get the Chicago Bears to the Super Bowl my first year of franchise mode.
Well, to that point, I actually think this documentary will accomplish some of that, which I do think is necessary. Like, to your guys' points, and Justin, you made a great point of like, there's people with real pedophilic sex trafficking crimes at a high level that involves government officials of multiple foreign countries that probably could use a refresher documentary at this point in time. And I'm completely with that. But I think that the narrative in terms of Diddy has become this. I've heard this multiple times. He was just freaky. He was just a freaky guy who liked to have sex and liked to have freak. What's wrong? Yes, he abused a couple women. What's wrong with that? So I think like 50's dismay for this man, of course, played a part. But I think the actual result was going to be that a lot of people who kind of dismissed Diddy as just this freaky guy or this guy who likes to have some weird deviant sex, as someone who has committed abuse multiple times, allegedly raped multiple people, allegedly potentially shot or gotten killed multiple people, like is responsible for the abuse and the misuse of his power for multiple decades. If you go back, they show, and to your point, FD, I know you've covered a lot of this in your video, but they show, you know, he's responsible for multiple deaths in part at the beginning of his career for a concert where people got trampled.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of what got lost in translation is very necessary to bring back up. And I'm actually okay if 50 Cent and Netflix are the people to bring that to the mainstream to cut some of those narratives. I'm okay with this.
I think like just to go based off of that, like I think that's an altruistic way to look at it. I think from my vantage point, it doesn't really matter the gruesome details of what Diddy did. It matters to me, it matters to the victims, it matters to possibly the jury. But I think it's been retold and repackaged in so many different ways, whether it's like on YouTube or HBO or whatever. And this man's cultural cachet still seems to be what people care about. I mean, there's still people dousing themselves in baby oil post Cassie video. Like, I don't know. I just feel like it's an opportunistic move from 50 Cent. Speaking from someone who's like from a town who he's currently exploiting, like G-Unit Studios all up in Shreveport, and the money's not going back to the community and things like that. And so I think from 50's point, it's opportunistic. I do think that a lot of the background information, like telling the story of Diddy, which is what FDU did. I did watch like your video on it. And a lot of that information I didn't know, like from the 90s and just who he was as a cultural like landmark. Like, I think that's great. And then including a lot of the unseen footage, like he was always recording himself doing things, and it's just weird. Like, you know, oh, I need to wash my hands now that I've like dealt with the public. Like, I do think that it's important to put those things out there as he spends millions of dollars in PR to clean that up. But I just think like, I don't know what will result of that. Like, I've seen a lot of gruesome details, and that seems to, I don't know, not change the narrative overall about him. And like, I'm also not pro like locking people up for life. Like, jail is not rehabilitative, but like he got a slap on the wrist for what he did, despite the heaps of evidence out there. So I think I'm diddied out as well, if we're using that phrase. And it just feels like a quick lick for 50 Cent at this point. So yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a revenge play for 50 Cent, in my opinion. You know what I mean? I mean, one of the narratives that runs throughout this documentary, for people who haven't seen it, one of the things they do highlight, along with everything that Jeremy and BK, you know, just described, is they point out the number of times that Diddy was hollering at his homies' girls. Like, he took Albie Shore's girl, he went at Eric Sermon's girl, you know, he went at Ryan Leslie's girl, and he also went at 50 Cent's girl. Right, 50 Cent's baby mama is Jane Doe in the trial, and they don't point that out. And so that actually feels like this. I watched this, and part of me was like, this is kind of the most hurt I've ever seen 50 Cent be. You know what I mean? Because the baby mama he has, that of the son that he likes.
Yeah, because he organized the kids.
Yeah, the one he likes was organizing the freak offs, and they didn't mention that in the documentary. And I actually feel like that is a little piece of journalistic malpractice. Glass, what's your thoughts on the ninth Diddy doc?
I'll pass. I was one of the few people that was happy he didn't get convicted of RICO. I thought that was ridiculous. Sex trafficking was ridiculous. It was a lot of things. But 50 and Diddy spat, I'm cool. I got better things to do. You know, they could fight. I'd rather see them fight. I don't want to watch anything else where I'm watching what you trying to convince me that Diddy is a horrible person. You know, y'all should have been kicked his ass. And now I just look at y'all like scary that y'all was around him all these years and he was taking all y'all bitches and none of y'all kicked his ass. Y'all all punks. I'd have beat the shit out of him a long time ago. So, you know, it makes me just look at the whole industry. Now y'all just all on tape whining about him taking y'all bitches. Y'all should have beat him up. That's how I feel. Like
Eric Sermon said he almost beat Diddy up for that reason until he heard the Biggie CD that Diddy played in the car, which is kind of a funny moment.
Yeah, I'd have kicked the shit out of Diddy. I always said that, like, this Diddy version that Diddy, like, I'd have kicked the shit out of Diddy. You know what I mean? If I didn't like something, I'd have just kicked the shit out of him. But I'd rather him and 50 Cent fight. I don't want to kind of get caught up in. I know exactly who Diddy is at this point. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised, you know, him fighting his old ladies and all of that shit. You know, y'all should have been kicked his ass. How y'all let this man, you know, and again, if he was fighting those cases wouldn't even be that crazy. What Diddy need is an ass kicking, and nobody kicked his ass a long time ago. And now, you know, we want the government to do it, and they tried to get out of control, which Eric Sermon, 50 Cent, I'll Be Sure, all these people should have kicked his ass. Now, why nobody didn't kick his ass?
In a way, that's what this is. Like in a new age, new industry formula. Because I tend to have some agreement with Glasses here and that. And that's one of the things I highlighted in my videos, that everybody, this was not a secret. It was a running joke.
Yeah.
It was the culture at the time. You know, one of the, I left some of the stories out from my homegirl that was a dancer, and like, you know, her kind of talking about how it was apparent to her then that she was saved, so to speak, from being caught up, you know, by a guy that liked her. You know what I'm saying? And her access to Diddy and some of the other worst dudes. She had dudes. She thought at the time that they were cock blocking, but really they were like, those guys over there may be a little much. You probably don't want to do that. And then her response to this was, well, what about the girls that's in there with them? Then like, why me and not them? You know? And like, I think I don't want to say frustrating, because like I think that's giving too much grace. The unfortunate reality is that Diddy, it was so unremarkable in his abuses that to kick his ass would be, you know, you have to kick like 75 other dudes' ass, white, black, executives, you know, producers, you know, makeup artists, like everybody, probably a couple of women. Real talk, you know, that was setting up some of the activity. You know, an ass whooping would have been dope. But you know, it was just such it was rotten so much to the core, you know. And so now 50 coming out with a documentary is maybe the type of scorched earth tactic that needed to happen then, you know.
And they should have whooped his ass the first person. I'll Be Sure should have whooped his ass a long time ago.
He also was a thug. Didn't he threaten LB? Didn't he have LB?
Man,
like,
I don't. How is Diddy gonna threaten you? Like this whole case. You know what's funny, and Stack could relate. If I would have knew these niggas was this much sucker, I would have did all kind of terrorist shit. If they gonna let Diddy bully them, like I saw something in that case where Diddy was at Kid Cudi's house opening up his Christmas gifts.
Oh yeah.
Like he opened up his gifts at his house. And you came back, how the fuck you didn't kick his ass? Like, and that's my problem. But this is what happens when you have years and years of unaccountability of getting your ass whooped. Fuck the law, get your ass kicked. And if I would have knew these dudes was like suckers like that, y'all let this nigga take your bitch and you gonna do it, and none of y'all whooped him. Y'all just letting him just go. This is why he fucked up. This is what unaccountability breeds. The ability to do what you want, and then one day you just like, now he in there looking stupid. Like, what was the problem? Y'all let me get all this shit off? It's all our fault. Or it's all of y'all fault, because how the fuck y'all didn't whoop this man at this point?
Stat, what do you think about this?
I've known him for so long. I watched the whole doc. I think I needed to see it because, like Glasses said, I know everybody in there. I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out where the gangster shit came from. Like, I never felt that around him. I guess people, like, they know who they want to try, you know? They know who they can be a certain type of way around. I worked with him plenty of times. I did business with him. I didn't even know he was putting hands on Cassie, you know what I'm saying? I ain't know none of that. I never went to the parties. He tried to sign me. That's how we met originally. And I just told him I didn't like him from the jump. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like blunt like that. And then I remember he got on the phone with me because we hung out and he had me on all these clubs. And This is back when he had G up and all them people, and Harv Pierre was running everything. We went to the club, and he was doing all this stuff. I'm like, dog, you're not my kind of people. And then we end up getting on the phone. He's like, Playboy, we ain't gotta like each other to make money, Playboy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, well, you know, you're just not my kind of person. You know, I just didn't rock with him like that. So that's. But we end up doing business. I end up writing for him. I wrote a lot of stuff for him. Very insecure as an MC, as an artist. When you work with him one-on-one, I kind of could relate to. I think it was like episode 3 or 4. He was working with the Lil Rod dude. It's really hard to get a verse out of Diddy when you write it for him, because I don't know if he can dance, but the timing
it's so bad.
It's so bad. So it takes a lot, and he's in there like, he's like, don't lose me, please stay with me. He like really, because he know how fucking terrible it is. So like I'm talking about hours, and like Chalice, the studio where he so-called shot somebody, was like my second home, and I actually worked with him in there. And I remember him telling me, if Kim ever write a book, his life is over. He told me that. But I had no clue this shit was going on, because nothing came off as gangster, like none of that shit, like Lassie said. And as far as taking your girl, I mean, I don't even know. I think that's an indictment on the men as well. Like, if he can take your woman, that's an indictment on your woman. I've never had a woman. I think when I was married at the time, and my wife was like, she wasn't into Diddy, you know. Like, I just don't know. Like, I don't even understand. I don't even understand how another man can take something from another man. Like, I mean, from like, how can you take my woman? Like, I don't even understand that thinking. You know,
you got to remember that these dudes, the one, I don't know if they get to this, and Justin, you let me know if they do. And a part of me wishes I'd have spent more time here, but like a 2-hour video is I don't get the Netflix the Netflix charity, right? People ain't gonna come back to my video like they come back to a Netflix joint. But the what I call it, like homoerotic, I don't know what the hell I call it, but these women are not people to these dudes. You know what I'm saying? Like they're like assets or commodities. And so like in that regard, to give grace and also agency to a lot of these women kind of recognize the role that they play in this economy, that they're not really there for like meaningful interpersonal relationships, but it's a status and an access thing. And so, you know, the concept of a girl being took is not even like, it's more like I left one job for another. You know what I'm saying? This person offered me a better contract. And so like in that regard, it wouldn't be too hard for Diddy in that situation, because, you know, if it's about access and money and star power and about a one-upsmanship, especially amongst the men, like, you know, when I bring up the term homo there, it's not like explicitly like, oh, they're gay and attracted to each other, but there's some dudes where sex and women is not really about the women. It's about proving their status as a man and proving it to other men of the same status, which is why
that's an incredible point, dog. That's incredible. That's incredible.
Know, that's why certain dudes all will mess with the same girl in like a 5-year calendar, you know, a period. You know, it's not because that girl is so amazing. It's because I know this going back to Russell Wilson.
but
easy on my point.
It's like you see these guys hop, like a woman, she'll post a man, and then like 10 minutes later it's a new dude messing with her. It's like man, I grew up in a time where you didn't want to mess with the girl that somebody you knew messed with. It's like a whole different thing. Or even with women, it's like because we can see you're in a relationship with somebody and y'all hugged up with each other, and then 10 minutes later you got a whole new man. But I just want to say this on the Diddy thing, right? I want to take the attention off of Puff and 50, because I feel like they're being used. I want to focus on Netflix, right? Puff made a mistake by even filming himself, right? Okay.
Narcissism.
Allegedly, Netflix he was going to do a documentary with Netflix. They had access to this footage. It just shows you how cutthroat companies are
Yeah.
to take that footage and say, we don't give a fuck what you were gonna do.
We
It
gonna
ain't
get-
clear.
We gonna recoup.
We shot this shit. You ain't paid for it, and then we gonna go with your arch nemesis and we gonna produce some shit. So fuck you. It just lets you know how
Who
these
the real villain is.
these corporations don't give a fuck. And how they did it to Puff, they'll do it to 50, and they'll do it to everybody on this panel, all for the love of that dollar bill, dog. So I think it's a 50, it's a Diddy narrative here, but let's like, even with the Drake and Kendrick, I loved what Vince Staples said when he was talking about, okay, what about Universal? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not forget about the hand, if you will, and everything that we're doing. And so Netflix is kind of like the hand here. Had they been more responsible, we wouldn't even seen this documentary. And had Diddy been smart enough, he wouldn't even been filming himself in such a critical moment of his life. So, but Netflix was like, we don't give a fuck. This shit is coming out, and we're gonna use your enemy as the person to be the face of it. Now that's some bullshit. And I love both. I love 50. That's my dog. Like, incredible, taught me so much. But you know, I know him personally, and dude is just the wrong enemy to have at any level. Like, he is strategic, and it's bad. Like, it's bad.
Of all the rappers I critique, he's never been on the list.
I never want any
He's
Probably for gay
He's not the
reasons.
one.
never
He's
want
not
any
the one.
problems.
BK, you were about to jump in a second ago. I feel like I cut you
No,
off earlier.
it's just that, like, I don't know. I think the whole, like, why didn't niggas beat him up thing is valid. Like, but also we are talking about a man who's an abuser with like a web of abuse. Like, I think the issue with the Diddy docs and all this stuff is, like, we're still not talking about the rape culture. We're not talking about the abuse. We're not talking about the victims. Like, yes, this corporation, like, took this footage and did what they were going to do with it. God knows what Diddy would have done with this footage to, like, craft a narrative in his own image, you know, to distort the truth. And I just hate that, like, the stories of the people, men, women, whoever, that were victimized along the way are getting lost in these two men having their beef or their ego off or whatever the case may be. And 50 Cent also shouldn't be the messenger for this, with all of his scandals and all of the people that he's abused and the things that he's gotten involved in as well. But I just hate that, like, again, we're talking about bitches being took, or why didn't niggas beat his ass or whatever. But it's this larger web of, like, permissible abuse and objectification of women and men and their bodies and things like that. And so that's why I just feel like I'm diddied out. I hate the phrase, but it's
wish
like
he would've
I
got
am too,
abused.
because it's like we're not talking about, like, how we can center victims and how we don't create another Diddy, or what do we do with the next Diddy, or a situation, which is kind of what, like, FD was talking about in his video. Was like, Diddy was kind of unremarkable. That's why people weren't jumping him. And, like, who else homeboy would have been jumped in the process of that, doing the same things he was doing, or turning the other way conveniently? You know, like, we're just losing the larger picture of, like, how an ecosystem like this can even create a Diddy, and create supporters. Like, all this shit is coming out, and it's still like, well, I knew him, and, you know, he was cool, and I never saw. Yeah, that's how abuse thrives, because there's a handful of people who never saw anything, you know, or there are people who conveniently didn't see anything. And so,
and that's
just,
very
I don't know.
purposeful too. That's like,
Yeah.
One second, pause.
the way the woman I talked to that I used to work for in anti-sex trafficking, another point thing I wish I'd have had more time for, where she talked about how, like, it's not odd that people would know and be in community and work with Diddy and have no clue how grimy he was being in this other aspect of his life. That's a very, like, purposeful tactic. You know what I'm saying? Because it creates that cognitive dissonance in everybody there. Because it's like, I was just with dude. I was with dude till 9 o'clock, you know, drinking and watching rap videos, and we was doing a cipher and smoking, and, like, it's hard for you to compute that at 9:30 the freak off started, you know. And so, like, and then he gets to put out there, all these people say this, that, and the third. And that was, like, the first thing he was like, I thought it was so surreal. Although, like, Netflix is super grimy about it, the, like, twisted person filmmaker in my head thought it was, like, incredibly surreal that this was Diddy's footage he was planning to use
Right,
to
right.
clear his name
Yes.
with.
It's almost more
Yeah.
damning.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
crazy.
And he's talking about wanting to develop his spin strategy with his lawyers. You know, and so that's kind of like it's, you know, I named the video initially "It's Bigger Than Diddy" for a reason, because like to give credence to the Diddy'd out mantra. The fact of the matter is the problem is so much bigger. It gets exhausting to try to like even capture it, and it's easier to just like, it would feel good to just take some swing on Diddy. You know what I'm saying? That would relieve
Diddy
you
would
of
have been
the.
getting his ass whooped. We wouldn't be here.
To be fair,
Y'all
Classic, there were-
gotta understand something. I get it. You want to live in a civilized world where the state or the government. If he'd have been getting his ass whooped, we wouldn't be this far. This is what happens when people don't get fucked up.
But Classic, to be fair, there was a lot of people that may or may not have attempted to do something like that, and there's a lot of people that have trails to their potential demise when it comes to this guy. You know what I mean?
there's,
So-
I think there's one thing the documentary does do a good job of setting up in the beginning, is that every time someone tried to hold Diddy accountable, he kicked them out of the circle, he kicked them out of their life. You know, whether that was threatening them, trying to fight him, whether that was refusing to do something. There's a long trail of people that he did leave behind.
That's how y'all fight. You threaten people to start a fight. Hey, we need to.
Don't get caught up in my language. See the documentary. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. He did have confrontations with people.
People that kick
so not
Daddy ass,
everybody.
they-
He just gets them out of the life. But I do want
People
to move
that
on.
kick Diddy ass because they thought he had value. They should have kicked his ass.
Well, maybe more
I'm
people should
telling
have
you,
done
man.
that. We're gonna move on to the next topic real quick. I think we did a good job on this, but I do want to ask you, BK, before we move on to the next segment. You're in Shreveport, and so what's your experience with 50 Cent's production company being based in Shreveport? There's been a lot of news around it, and I think this might be one of the first productions to come out of there.
So I'm not located in Shreveport, but I'm born and raised there, and my whole family's there, and my friends are there, and a lot of my friends worked like he threw like a I don't know if he called it like the G bubble or something. It was like a G Unit bash where like I think Dave Chappelle was even there. It was a bunch of like celebrities were there, and a couple of my friends were like bottle goes for his event and stuff. But I mean, mainly just the word on the ground is just that it's not like Hurricane Chris, who's a Shreveport rapper.
Is that A Baby?
Yeah. I was like, you at least know that one.
And a feature on Justin Bieber's new album, Grammy nominated. Hurricane Chris.
Oh wow, yeah. Okay, yeah. Look, shout out. But like he went viral whenever G Unit whatever productions was announced, and he was just like, you know, you had all these people from LA, like these coastal elites that were flown into Shreveport, and like there's talent here, and we were not put on, or we were not contacted, or whatever the case may be. The local whoever, the security, things like that, like it's not local people being hired. Like it was pitched as an investment in Shreveport, but it's giving like I just needed some cheap place to build my facility without regulations. You know, Louisiana is notoriously corrupt with our laissez-faire government, and so yeah, I think he's just reaping a lot of the benefits of just being posted up there without the kickback coming to the community. And like if it was, we would know. But when local talent or local folks are coming there, I have friends who are musicians that are moving out of Shreveport because there's no, like, that should not be the case. That's why, I mean, I have ire against 50 Cent for a number of reasons, but like that specifically, ripping off small towns, mayors and people who have already come through and like just fucked us over. I just hate that. Yeah, I have a soft spot for that.
Yeah, I feel you. Word up.
Can I ask a question? I'm just for everybody because I just want to know. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can y'all hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Why do we expect people to give a fuck about? Yeah, why would we even expect him to care?
Well, I don't expect anything from capitalist pigs, period. But what I do expect is when you sell an idea to people and you say, I'm Shreveport, I love you, we're coming. He was doing rallies here. he was inviting the local talent here and selling them a dream. Now you could argue, well, why would you ever believe a businessman on the dream he's selling? Okay, well, like some of us can like parse through and kind of read through the lines, but I think a lot of locals who were just thinking, oh shit, like someone that I looked up to, famous guy, everyone knows 50 Cent, is coming here and he's saying he's bringing opportunities to the locals. He's saying that. So we're getting into just like false advertisement at that point. Not just assumptions just because he said, hey, I'm posting up there. He was telling people, I think he was selling people dreams out of his mouth. And then just fell through with that. Or was really, I mean, he was talking to people from Shreveport, but he was talking to the Shreveport elites and the people that are not the rich white people who are fucking over the poor black people in the town. So like, yeah, that's just what's going on.
Jump in and amplify what BK is saying. I thought I had my homie's book here. I've talked about it in a bunch of videos. It's called the Myth of Black Buying Power. And it's a book. It's short and it's not that hard to read, but everybody in the chat and everybody that wants to understand that particular like dynamic could read it, because it talks about how black folks, it's one thing to like just get your money. I'm not against nobody getting their money. I'm not against anybody starting their businesses. I may be a socialist, but I'm not expecting you to run your business as a socialist in a capitalist system, yada, 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 right? I ain't expecting all that. But there is this thing with black folks specifically where people will sell you on this for us. This is for the culture. Mm-hmm. This is, I'm coming here so that we can all eat, yada, yada, yada. And at the end of the day, that's not, they may brand themselves as that because they know niggas is hungry and that they're thirsty and that people want opportunity and access. And so they'll sell that to get opportunity and access, but then never come through at their end of the bargain. And there's so many examples of it throughout, low-key throughout Black history, but definitely within hip hop. That's like a big thing that keeps happening with a lot of folks is folks will use that cultural cachet because they're the soundtrack to our lives, our youth, some of our best moments. Mm-hmm. And they'll say, yeah, so I'm coming for this business venture. I'm already in trouble with certain folks. I'm not going to get back into it, but I'm going to just say it's just a repeated pattern. And it'd be one thing if it was like, I'm just opening a business here and it just happens to have my name on it when I open it, yada, yada, yada. But it's another thing when folks have whole like marketing plans and they market it as for the people, for the culture, etc. But then they sell it to a white corporation. And I will
say too, it's like split. It's split. It's almost like the whole like Louisiana-based environmentalists versus people who are like, no, I need this plant job. So not everybody in Shreveport is revolting that 50 Cent is there. I feel like if you ask the average person there, like, what do you feel like he's done and what value has he brought? They probably couldn't tell you. But there were people even up in arms with Hurricane Chris at the time being like, man, like, just basically Hurricane Chris was right. He was just early. You know, people were like, let it play out. Like, you know, he may invest and he may do all these things, but he wasn't willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I wasn't either. I was very skeptical about it. So yeah, it's a mixed bag because some people still feel like, okay, well, our name is being said or we could get paid in clout or whatever the case may be. But so I don't want to just speak for the entire, you know, obviously city, but that's just kind of the feedback I've been getting.
Word up. That was a great segment, y'all. That was a great segment. Not a second applause for that segment. Thank everybody tuned in again. Culture United Live, episode 12. We're doing Culture United Wednesdays every Wednesday, so there'll be fresh conversations like these every Wednesdays, revolving panelists as it's always been. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll put super chats on the screen. I'll be on after the conversation to answer questions and talk to the audience too. Everyone here is always welcome to stick around for that portion of it. But that was really dope. And so moving on to the next topic that we have for today. And the next topic, obviously all of us are in the media space. And there's been a lot of changes in the media space this year. You know, I'm not sure how many of you grew up in the blog era, but most of the blogs aren't even posting on the blogs anymore. They're running most of their conversations through social media. XXL doesn't post on their site. Hip Hop DX posts every couple of days, for example. You know, Hot New Hip Hop might be the last of the Mohicans. They still have two original editorial directors. I think that's what they call them. So they're actually still out here pumping out written words on a blog. But the nature of conversations has moved in a number of different directions. Even one of the freshest platforms that came out over the past year, The Bigger Picture, has now decided to rebrand. I think it sounds more like that. Jeremy Hecht was one of the founders of that show. You want to talk about The Bigger Picture a little bit and the great work you guys did and what you guys are doing next?
Yeah, so basically the end of The Bigger Picture is a real thing in terms of like that podcast. We had 73 episodes. It started from, based on the battle that we all spoke about tirelessly. And it was supposed to be just a one-off. And it was supposed to be me, Elliot, and guests. And one of our first guests was supposed to be DJ Head, who ended up joining the show. But off of that, the chemistry was there, the conversation was there, the audience was there. So we kept that show going and turned it into a really great community. I think we had a great audience of people who loved music, loved hip hop. And counter to what people might think, we actually spoke about more than 2 artists on a weekly basis. But so we did 73 episodes. And then, moving into the new year, it does seem like there's some iteration of this show that may be rebranded. I don't know the name, but it would be us 3, and hoping that comes back at some point next year. But to your point, Justin, it's interesting with the state of media because I see it moving in a similar direction as politics and a lot of how political pundits on both sides are kind of the new form of how you get your news. For example, there's, I watch Breaking Points every day, or shout out to, Kyle Kalinske and, the Majority Report and a lot of these platforms that I tune into specifically to hear their opinion on the news first, because I want the added context. And then I'll go back to, the article that originally stemmed from for additional context to fact check. I think that hip hop media and music media is moving in a similar direction where a lot of us are going to be playing roles in that. Specifically, Justin, you do a great job of this. Rob Markman, Wayno, people who are giving additional context on the news that drops every day and reporting it, I think are going to become more prominent and more important. But that being said, source material is also going to be necessary. And it's interesting to think about where that source material will come from.
Yeah, I mean, Glasses were on here a couple of, I guess the last episode we did. And one of the things that Glasses said that really stood out to me in that conversation was, maybe this was off record, so maybe I'm snitching. Who knows where I said it, but I'm pretty sure you said it too somewhere, Glasses. So you won't be mad at what I'm going to say. But Glasses was talking about how music doesn't necessarily give him enough space to tackle all the things he wants to talk about now in the same way. And, that really resonated with me as I thought about an individual video versus some of the evolutions that we're seeing that's happening with live streamers. It's like, there is a different experience between putting out a focused video and just having the whole world inside of your life. Glasses, what do you think about where media is right now? What are you thinking about evolving into in this space, since you have become a very large, heavily quoted voice in this space when it comes to what you're thinking about in 2026?
I'm just open. I haven't even, honestly, I've been so focused on what's happening with music and the business of records that I haven't really honestly got into kind of where was media going to evolve to, where was journalism going to evolve to? But I'm just as interested as everybody else, for sure.
I mean, you do, is it the lunch hour?
Sure.
Yeah. So what makes you want to be in the media space in the first place?
So in a time where, like, I just got good at making records about 5 years ago. Like, I did not know what a record was. I had no idea. So when I'm not putting out tons and tons of records, this is a way to constantly brand my ideas and thoughts, or to stay on brand for people to know how I see the world, whether it's good or bad. And it was a way for me to keep in contact with my fan base, my audience, while I wasn't putting out music. And slowly I started to kind of adapt into what was happening that fit my brand, because I don't just talk about everything. Like, I don't review albums and shit. Like, I don't think my opinion on your favorite album really, forgive me, should matter to you. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, your opinion on my favorite artist don't matter to me. So, you know, I don't really try to fill that void, but I do try to have things, that come into my wheelhouse that I feel are authentic of me talking about. Today was about, you know, Kendrick's song, you know, Dot is my friend. Like, I wouldn't probably be talking about Dot if he wasn't my friend. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just talking about 2 years of one song, you know, doing so well and how proud and just excited. And I think there's a natural connection to people that's a fan of his, you know what I mean? Hearing, you know, somebody talk about him that knows him, and it's just, you know, it's a genuine ecstatic. Or young boy, you know, talking about hurting himself in the current state of, like, you know, what looks like the younger hip hop artists, where it's just kind of sad and pitiful, you know what I mean? And just things have to fit in my wheelhouse. Like, I don't know if that's correct or not, but it's just where I'm at. Like, I would need to really take time to develop a media space. So I spend more time like branding myself and getting my ideas out for years because I didn't say much at all.
FD, what do you think?
You might be muted.
My bad. Yeah, I was muted. So I think Glasser said something interesting. Because I think what he was getting at was authenticity, and that's so. I think there's two things. So I want to start with the positive. Authenticity is like, I think, what most people are really craving, and why like the streaming and the podcast has such a vibrant like growth space. You know, so people turn on, you know, Glass's stream and you hear him talk just now, and it's pretty clear like you're getting his authentic engagement with the art or an idea or a topic or whatever. And I think in a world where the way we're even engaging with each other right now is so much more prominent, I always refer to the basement, the musty basement hip hop argument, right? Like, though, that's some of my formative experiences with the culture is being in a dorm room or a cafeteria at lunch table in high school and arguing over which member of the Wu-Tang Clan was the best one, whatever. Like, you have that a bit, but you don't have it like you used to. And so I think people still want community. And so people that present an authentic space through which to like create community are going to be the leaders of hip hop media and commentary and like really culture, period. Now, the problem is, or the thing we have to be like constantly like, you know, tussling over is this also creates a level playing field that ain't really that level, in that certain things that are normalized and that's been normal in hip hop forever, but because it was siloed and wasn't like everywhere, it wasn't really it was easier to ignore. Now they're becoming extremely prominent and they're like breaking containment. So you have podcasts featuring people with whole racist Twitter accounts and whatnot, and like all this other stuff happening. And it used to be that there was like a clear on code when something was brought to the table to like, you know, address it. And now it's a discussion, it's a debate, and there's never actually a winner in the actual debate or discussion, because at the end of the day, folks that have their own community have their own community standards, and it's, you know, if they have a big platform, they have a big platform. Ain't nothing you can do about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's the future of hip hop media is exactly what we're doing now. Probably like collectives that form, you know, anarcho syndicates of just like connectivity and working with each other, doing favors, promoting each other's shit, etc. And it's probably gonna be just different pockets with different interests. And that's dope because it means a lot of people get their shit off, but it also means we've lost, what is it, the monoculture? Mm-hmm. We've lost the monoculture. And it also means that there's going to be wild stuff that's normal in a space that you have no control over. And you can either ignore it, you can crusade against it, but you can't stop it, you know?
BK, what do you think? Monoculture, do you agree with it?
Yeah, no, it's the echo chamber. I feel like I say echo chamber like every other day nowadays, and it's something that I just always have to remind myself of, that what I see on my feed in terms of media is not what y'all see on your feed. And maybe it is kind of like the, if we're all following each other and interacting, it'll probably show up, but yeah, there is no shared reality anymore, which is, I think, it's a double-edged sword, where it's like more marginalized voices can have a platform to say something because I can just garner a community of my own. But there's no fact. We're like in a post-truth, like it's just opinion and it's just debate, and it's just betting. I don't know, gambling, speculative.
Always.
Like everything is just
Everything is gambling.
everything is gambling. And CEO of like Kalshi just came out talking about they want to financialize anything that could be a point of difference. So yeah, in terms of media, like I think it's great that like people have all these platforms, but then you also get like a Milagro situation where people are not bound by any code of ethics, and they feel they're not aware of code of ethics. They're not aware of even what defamation is, or maybe they are, which is a whole other thing. But are spreading misinformation, disinformation. I mean, like her response to sharing the like AI deepfake of Megan was, I thought it was real, which is still illegal because revenge porn is illegal. But like not having any like journalistic standards or ethics is getting people fucked up and getting people in lawsuits that they don't even need to be a part of. So that's a problem too. Everything is an opinion. There's no fact. There's no truth. There's no shared reality, which can open up a number of great possibilities. But people are ending up in the courtroom more than I think they should be because of that as well.
Yeah. Well, I was actually really happy that the court deemed Milagro media.
Because like it raises the standard.
It raises the standard. I like that. I think we all have to understand the fact that we are all media, whether or not we want to feel like it.
Yeah.
And we're engaging in social media. The things that we're putting out, generally speaking, we're all trying to get engagement off of. And there's real damage that could be made to manipulating algorithms at someone else's disadvantage. Miss Milagro being deemed media to me was one of the best things that I saw happen from a legal standpoint when it comes to media in 2025.
Mm. So this means that all of these lion-ass blogger types and the rage baiters now kind of like have to face consequences for starting bullshit. Possibly.
They could be put on the Summer Jam screen. Yeah. They need to be.
What's interesting, because it's like, it feels like, to BK's point, it's like certain voices are elevated, and this is happening in politics too. Like you talked about, FD, those fringe voices that there's pockets of the internet that believe all of this racist shit, that follow the very racist people who are spewing that nonsense. But now that exists on a public platform in a way that we didn't have prior to what's going on right now. It's almost like they're raised and elevated to the same standard as someone who has the journalistic ethics or code or follows it. So to me, that's where I feel like it's muddy. Like, Justin, how do we come to terms with the fact that everyone is media, and should certain opinions be taken? Like, how do we make sure certain opinions are taken more seriously when it comes to, let's say, a legal matter or a political matter or whatever it may be?
I came to terms with that when Instagram started doing video. When Instagram started doing video, I was like, okay, we're all media officially. We can all go outside and record what we see. We can all turn the camera on ourselves and become our own roving reporters. And at the other end of that is going to be someone who's going to be upset if we misrepresent them. Now, how upset they're going to be depends on how badly we misrepresent them. If we're getting into revenge P, like BK was breaking down, the whole state of California going to shut everything I got going on. It's going to shut it down immediately. If we get to assaulting somebody in the way that G was talking about in the beginning of this conversation, then someone like G, I might have to actually have a fight on my hands. When you have that responsibility where you can get your ass kicked or you can get sued because of what you did with your phone and your camera on a social media site, to me, that's the same standard that journalists have always had. We couldn't just go outside and write slanderous conversations about, people we didn't know or people we do know. We couldn't, I couldn't review an album, but so sharply, I have to come up with words like craptastic. You know what I'm saying? It sounds happy that it's bad, but I couldn't go over here and say I couldn't go over here and disrespect the fact that I'm disrespecting someone's dreams, because when someone's dreams are on the line, they're willing to do crazy things for them. You know what I mean? So I came to grips with this a long time ago. I remember watching I can't remember, it was some Netflix docu series about these young women in a correctional facility. Right. And so they were, I can't think what it was called, but they were like in a correctional facility, and it was like their struggle in that facility. And one of the girls got out, this got to be like 2017. One of the girls, her first day out, she was like, now I got to tell all the media I'm out, Facebook. We've been here for a long time. You know what I mean? I'm glad that the legal system has finally said that we all have this shared responsibility now, because people have been trying to play the middle and then act like it's just podding when someone smacks the shit out of them. Stat, what do you think?
I think this is a crazy analogy. Y'all just roll with me real quick, but I think freedom of speech is like nudity now, you know? It's like you could be naked in your house and not get in trouble. But if you go outside naked, they're gonna lock your ass up. So you should kind of you should kind of speak. You should treat what you say. If you want to say some wild shit, you can say that in your crib, and ain't nobody gonna give a fuck. Like Adin Ross said, he like to say nigga when he listens to the song. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you. You doing it at the crib. You know what I mean? Shout out to you. I wrote it for you to say nigga on the hook, because the more you say it, the more you fucking. That's more money for us and the artist to make. But when you take your ass outside, there's consequences and repercussions to the shit you saying. So at the end of the day, that's kind of like how I see it. So you want to be naked at home? Go ahead. Take a shower, be naked, walk around nude with your significant other. But if you try to get on your social media, go outside and be naked, you're going to get locked up. We're going to put your ass in jail. So that's how we should treat conversations. You need to have the controversial shit that needs to be amongst your brotherhood, amongst your family, your friends. But when you start like talking crazy, understand that you set yourself up for some bullshit. That's kind of like what it is. I ain't mean to get all into the naked thing, but that's kind of like how I see it.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah, I love unhinged analogies, sir. I'm all for unhinged analogies. One thing I also think, and this is for everybody, like us as now media, that I'll just say maybe we hold ourselves in higher esteem, we should have a higher standard, is it's also our job to like be like media analysis, what is it? Is it media literacy educators? Like we have to kind of constantly, like I do a lot of posting about the shit I deal with YouTube in between videos, because I want people to know like how this machine is worked, because until you get in here, you don't realize the like very, very high level, meticulous expertise that goes into these machines, that goes into these ones and zeros, that makes us behave. Like people don't understand. Like I actually did a presentation at my kid's school a while ago, and I was explaining algorithms to them in TikTok. And I was like, what happens when you open up TikTok? And it's like, oh, they show you your For You page. And I'm like, well, how do they know that's for you? No answers. They hadn't even thought about the fact that TikTok has already guessed, based on tracking their internet usage, their geolocation of their phone, the last 10 things they Googled or they mama Googled or whatever, to already have certain things, or better yet, that they know that certain TikTokers create certain behaviors with their app. You know, which is why red pill stuff is so popular, because red pill stuff is addictive. That's one of the most addictive genres of media online. And people don't know that. People think they open up their app and it's the same as me opening up my app 100,000 miles away. They don't realize like all these different things are happening. And so like the hip hop part of it is, it's not secondary per se, but it's like everything, whatever niche or genre you are attached to, if you are now media and you actually care about what that means, you also have to be consistently educating your audience on the way the sausage is made as well.
I want to shout you out, FD, on your latest piece, Charlie Kirk and the white death cult. Do you want
conservative death cult?
Conservative death cult. Excuse me. Excuse me.
The original title was "What about white on white crime?" ?
Yeah, there you go.
But
That's good. That's good too.
Yeah, I felt like that would be. It was an ordeal getting that motherfucker through already. You get suicide hotline suggestions for watching it.
Right.
So it's trying me, but it's making its dues, thankfully.
There's a part in there that, I'm happy you pointed out, in that Charlie Kirk was one of few commentators who's willing to go and attack the legacy of MLK. That's one of the things I never liked about him. I'm like, man, come on, dog. And now we want to give him statues. Away from that, though, right? And, your piece, and then Hip Hop is Red Pilled by UBK, which I think is phenomenal. You know what I mean? I've been having that conversation in pieces since Drake sent the Hell's Angels to fight Rick Ross. You know what I mean? And so
I missed that one. Lord.
Oh, this is last summer. This was last summer. And so, but this has been an ongoing thing. And in 2025, we've just got a cascade of it, right? We've got Neon, who based his entire Twitch streaming kick, wherever he was, identity off of being racist and anti-black, go on the Breakfast Club, have his audience who is used to that call them the Monkey Club in the chat while that was one of the craziest things I've seen. We watched Tyler Creator get called out for his online origin story. We're selling Sambo shirts, right? We got Aiden Ross, that I think Stat, you just brought that up, admitted to him
like beat they asses, like
him saying the N-word. You know what I mean? We've got Rory, who's a noob, which was crazy to me with these old tweets that popped up on him lately. We had Fantano had to apologize again because they went back and they spun the block. They spun the block on him. You know what I mean? Like, I look around and it's a weird conversation. It's a weird feeling to be looking around in hip hop, and I'm like, yo, there is a cascade of anti-blackness, red pill that is all over a culture. From the origin has always represented for the opposite. What do you guys think about that?
But can I say this? But can I say this? And
Yep.
I've said this to you personally offline. So I'm just gonna throw this out here. Y'all don't get mad at me. Glasses don't get mad.
No one promises that.
Well, yeah, hip hop has. We got to take some responsibility. I know I take responsibility. I have written some horrible things.
You froze.
I think he was gonna do the black on black crime argument though.
He wasn't go that bad. What? Also, let me save him. Well, this is where I think he was actually going.
Oh, wait, he's back now.
Okay.
Before you get started, he's back now. Are you back? I think we let you back in. You back, Stat?
Seeing God's trying to
I
tell
can't
you
hear
something.
y'all.
God is trying to tell you something.
He said God is trying.
Don't do it. Just leave it alone.
Can you hear us? Can you hear G?
Nah,
Stack, you hear Glasses? Good.
Try it again.
In that movie, saying God is trying to tell you something.
So I'm gonna try to recoup where I think Stat was going.
I don't know if you're going to be accurate about this, but let's see where you take it.
Is it too spicy to point out that the proliferation and explosion in popularity of hip hop was always somewhat rooted in anti-blackness? Can we engage with that a little bit? And I'm just so Glasses. Let me get my whole shit off, and then I want to hear your response to this. This is half baked, but it's something I've been cooking.
This is you speaking for Stat or yourself?
This is something I've been working on ever since I did that Kid and Play joint.
Okay.
Because if that Kid and Play joint ends with me talking about NWA and how NWA was very much an aesthetic of like black delinquency and criminality that literally half the members of NWA low-key didn't know much about and wasn't representative of where they were coming from. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know any gangs. Like gangs had colors and whatnot, but they didn't necessarily have they didn't have color coordinated outfits. Like it wasn't, they didn't like the Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? And I only saw.
You realize you're talking about the 80s right now. That's not the origin of hip hop. Do you want to connect this dot quickly? Do you want to connect this dot quickly, or do you just talk about when capitalism got involved? Which one would you rather do?
No, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's
Gotcha.
at that point with NWA that we see like the explosion of rap from this like collective, like kind of underground thing to become this huge thing. And it was always about selling a specific image of blackness to a white audience. And so now that we've done that for 30, 40 years, we never actually got that white audience has never actually loved us or the music in a meaningful way. So it shouldn't be all that surprising that now that they have the immunity to speak on hip hop with impunity. I mean, sorry, now that they have the ability to speak on hip hop with impunity and say whatever the fuck they want without consequences, that they're saying exactly what they were thinking when they were going to NWA concerts in '88, or Snoop Dogg concerts in '96, or Drake concerts in 2015. So.
Glasses, you wanna tackle this? He's calling out your neighborhood, your backyard.
No, it don't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that. Ironically, rather, I had this conversation with someone yesterday, and I remember kind of being hopeless in hip hop. Right, hip hop saved my life. Like it got me out of selling PCP. Right, I didn't know. Like I told somebody I learned what hip hop was in 2019, and they assumed to believe like I listened to hip hop records in 2019. Like, and it's like, bro, I only grew up with hip hop records. Like the first record I played that wasn't a hip hop album was Jamie Foxx in 2005. That was the first time I ever pressed played on something that wasn't hip hop. Like my mom could be playing Keith Sweat and I know all the cameo shit, but if I press play on a tape deck, it was going to be hip hop. And that goes back from the Fat Boys, Run DMC, LL Cool J. Oh, Jesus Christ. But I had the luxury from 2011 to 2019 to really make it my business to understand what it was. Not the music, but the culture that inspired the music. I spent a ton of time on the East Coast, all these different places, meeting and bonding with legends at the inception, not just the Eric B's or the Hercs, those guys too, but just the Spades and the guys that inspired everything that make it great. And what I realized was the attitude that hip hop projected when it took off, right, which is Run DMC, which is LL Cool J, the loud, the brash, the street look. NWA manifested the attitude over records. They were already carrying the attitude, the voice, the inflections, the way they look. They looked the streets, and then you had somebody talk the way the streets talk. So while I get what FD is saying and a big fan of his content, I'm not upset that he's saying it, but I also worry that you can listen to NWA and it's easy to take the surface and say niggas don't like each other. But it's another thing to listen into the depth of what they're experiencing. Even the Chronic, right? You can hear a bunch of angry black men hip hop has always been outrageous and upset and loud and disruptive. That's the energy. So to have somebody come into hip hop today and act like, oh, this is something we should expect. People, a Neon or Adin or, I didn't really see the thing with Fontana or any of them guys, but I'm saying that's still not something we deserve. You know what I'm saying? It's still not, because it's like, all you have to do is look past the surface. If you're really a fan of Dr. Dre, then you could hear that there's a much more nuance than just him talking about hurting people. You could hear there's a defense message. There's a defense part of his conversation. There's an upset part of his conversation about how black people are being treated. Even Snoop, there's a festive attitude that fits Kid and Play. That's not just shoot 'em up, bang, bang. So if you're really a fan of these artists, then it's never that surface. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if I would like to believe that you know, we set ourselves up with this. I genuinely just don't believe these people are hip hop.
So
they don't quite understand.
I think you actually agree more than folks realize in the exchange so far. I actually completely agree with what you're saying, and I don't think we set ourselves up for it so much as, you know, when you hungry and somebody offer you a check and says we love your record, you make the record that's in your heart. You can't. I told a young boy the other day who's making content. He keeps getting into drama, and he's like, "Yo, my content's this, my content's that, my circle's this, my circle's that." And I was like, "Look, you got to understand. As soon as you press upload and you make that a product for the world to have access to, you've actually lost control of what it really means. It can mean whatever you think it means when you make it, but by the time you sell it to that person is buying it for whatever reason they concocted in their head." And so I actually agree with you. We don't deserve it. We didn't set ourselves up for it. But I'm saying the Adin Rosses and Neons are people that have always consumed hip hop at the mass scale. And they have never loved it the same way we loved it. One of my things was Ready to Die. I heard Ready to Die at 13, 14 and was like, I didn't even like it that much. I heard Ready to Die at 30. I was like, this is a whole dissertation on Black masculinity. You know what I'm saying? And depression and all this.
Man, the depression in that thing is crazy.
Right. It's crazy, you know? And so like, I don't think Adin Ross hears that, or I was obviously not Ready to Die, but I don't know, whatever the new age version is, whatever Young Boy's going through right now. He ain't hearing that. He's like, and I've heard
that's because they listen to Drake and Young Boy.
I mean,
they get a lot of rap music.
And I've heard that. I've literally heard white fans say, I listen to this so I can know what it feels like to be a gangster. And it's like, nah, gangsters don't even be wanting to be.
Jeremy's, that's why you listen to rap. So you could. Did you have the same experience?
Nail on the head. Only reason I started.
You know, but I said to say, I think Glasses is completely correct. And like hip hop is all of these things to people that love and understand hip hop. But the commercial industry of hip hop has always, the big bucks have always come from Neon and his community and people like that. And now we just have to, that's in our face now. You know what I'm saying?
BK, what's the remedy for this being in our face? Like what posture should we take? Because I was saying this in the video I did about Rory, you know, when all of his old tweets came out. You know, I was shocked that Rory was a noob. That was my first time hearing about it.
Me too.
You know what I'm saying? New Cosplay 2000. I did not want to hear that, right? But I was shocked to hear he was a noob.
Hold on, Spring 2000, he older than me?
That's me. No, that's
that's you. Okay.
That's me. Yeah, I don't know what Rory's is. I
just found out he was brothers.
No, I'm probably the stigma.
But yeah.
Y'all are brothers.
our worst member is Bill Clinton.
Would y'all give him an honorary? You give him an honorary?
I don't even know. I don't know
how to give him an honorary. There's no way Bill Clinton was not online.
Wait a minute, Jay.
He was not locked up with
and
nobody.
The homie Rory are brothers?
Me and Rory are. Yeah, we're fraternity brothers. Yeah. I talked about it in my piece. He
started out with that too. He had to clear the air.
I was like, yo, I gotta get this
stage on that one.
That
he
was crazy.
Left that out, but he was like,
I was in that live watching him go crazy over here repping the Shield. That's not what we want.
Tomato.
But either way, so but what I mean is, but when his old tweets came out, I wasn't shocked about that part. I just expect that part. I expect there was a phase that you know all of them went through where they were pushing the line or expressing themselves freely or celebrating the First Amendment or red pilling whatever. You know what I'm saying? But BK, what do you think? What do you think that if there is anything to do that we can do about it? You know what I mean? I'm not shocked at that part. I'm always shocked at how people handle it. I have a problem with people who want to fight me because they want to call me the N-word. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think like a big part of even just like where my own video about this came from was like there seems to be no checks and balances. Like, yes, maybe this was already existing, but like there's way more people that are like going along with it. Like the Rory part is like one half of it, but then like Maul like co-signed everything and went along with it. And so you know, and I noticed this with even just like Tory Gate and all this stuff, like there just aren't any checks and balances, and there's way too many people saying, get over the victim mentality, whatever, we're in a post-racial, whatever people want to believe about the society they're living in, that maybe they, because they share a same podcast platform as somebody, that they have the same, you know, I don't know, social standing within the like hierarchy. I don't know what it is, but it's just a lack of, it's niggas going along with it that I think is the problem. And the antidote is to expose that with sunlight. I mean, I don't think that's going to be the end all be all solution, but I think the whole not to be the friend that's too woke, or let me just not bring it up because everyone's racist, whatever. I think letting the permission structure slip is an issue, instead of being like, this is the line. It's almost like how people packed up the what's the dirt dude, the 37 niggas dude. It's just like, yeah, there should kind of be a dogpiling in my view, to an extent where it's like, oh, absolutely not. Like that's unacceptable. And maybe it's a whack-a-mole situation, kind of like with Vlad. I feel like he said a couple things where it's like, okay, you're kind of the cops. Like, why are people talking to you? And then somehow he still pops up. But this last thing, I forgot what it was, but people were kind of trying to pull his card a little bit. I think just continuously talking about it and putting sunlight on it is important, because Adin was fully normalized. Like, you know, it wasn't just like he woke up one day and it's like, oh, interview with Trump dropped, which was crazy, by the way. But like, the permission structure allowed him to be there. Yeah, this cool white boy that smokes with us and whatever, he gonna put us on the stream. Like,
But also he has Nazis on his stream sometime.
Right, and he blew up by making friends with Bronny James.
yeah, and just like being in proximity to the swag, so to speak. Like, stop, you know, of course, I think that the whole like cookout invite thing, he's got to be done. Like, it's just, we can like appreciate individual white people without like rolling out the red carpet because they have rhythm and can like rap a verse. Like, I don't know, it's just, there just seems to be a lack of standards and a lack of checks and balances of calling things out, for the sake of just a kumbaya, like, it's 2025, like everyone's got a mic, you know. I think that's an issue.
I think it's also like a big part of it is we're coming out of a generation of counterinsurgency and the counterintelligence around race in this country, in that we have Gen Z. No shade to Gen Z. BK, I'm assuming you're part of the Gen Z crew.
Yeah,
we failed y'all. And by we, I mean Gen Xers, because I'm an old millennial. No shade, company man. And
I'm not Gen Xer. I'm an old millennial too.
Are you? I thought you were a couple years older than me. Well, you know,
I'm 81. I'm 81.
Yeah,
Starts in 1980.
Okay, all right. So yeah, we in there. We in there. Then. Good.
Yeah, we in
like,
there. We just slid through.
But like, we had such a bad, like, because Gen Z was raised. Oh God, I'm about to get. I don't know who in the chat about. There's people in the chat that was on my side. That's about to be off my side now. Gen Z was raised in the Obama era of post-racialism, and it fucked them up.
Yes.
Because Obama was such a Jedi mind trick on black people that we have yet to be willing to process and recover from, let alone start that process. So Gen Z is on some post-racial shit way too much. And you combine that with the fact that we also have never really like gotten a good, strong handle on how anti-blackness and white supremacy and racism works. Because the thing that I've been coming to, and I touched on it in that Charlie Kirk joint, is like what happened with Rory or even Fantano, right? Somebody we fuck with. It's not people think like, oh, and the reason why Rory was so indignant in that chat is because people were like using moralistic elements to describe his behavior. This was bad. This was wicked. This was, evil. This is hate speech, et cetera, et cetera. And Rory in his head is like, I don't hate black people. I love black people. I have a black wife. And from some angle that makes sense. And that's the problem. Like, we got to start understanding that racism for white people is not about a moral or like emotional framework. It's a socializing framework. Mm-hmm. It's about community. It's about it's the same way depending on where you're from, you have a certain accent. Depending on where you're from, you grew up with certain foods and certain experiences. If you were a white person raised around no black people, racism was a part of your socializing framework. It just was. And so when you start, like, they be doing it reflexively. It's reflexive to do racist shit to a lot of these white kids. And if it's never checked at any point in the equation, going back to the malls of the world, my new frustrations with like Charlemagne and Andrew Scholes, it's like how you do a podcast with dude for 10 years and he's a Trump voter and you ain't correct that at some point in time. Like, I don't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, it's that type of low, you know, like it's the weakness of our analysis and our ability to be on code with each other about who participates that has made it so we have to contend with the DJ Vlad, who we've packed out 25 times. That's why that, like, as much as I enjoy watching a pack out, I've also come to understand that a pack out is masturbatory at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? It's not a real solution to the problem. The problem is structural. Or we can start beating people's asses at an earlier age. I do see the value in that class.
For sure.
But the problem is these dudes is grown and they got entourages now. So unless you know, I've had some walking day dreams about, you know, collecting the Black Expendables and finding George Zimmerman. I've had those walking day dreams before, but that's a lot to ask. You know what I'm saying?
No, FD, I think like your point
might
about
have to cut that one, actually.
that was crazy.
1 second applause.
I do think your point about, you know, just the black youth having, the new Twitter slang is like low racial self-esteem, not really understanding white supremacy, not understanding that like people do not have to be in a white hood for them to be perpetuating white supremacy and racism. And so, yeah, maybe there's not even like, literally the people will be like, why are you even bringing that up? Like, race doesn't matter. Obama was president. Like, that's literally what I was like raised off of. Like, we were kids growing up and being like, oh, well, we've reached the pinnacle of like, yeah, maybe racism exists here and there, but like, we felt like because we achieved that, it was structurally, I don't believe that, but like by and large, like I think Black Gen Zers growing up with the Black Girl Magic, Black Excellence, you know, 2020 George Floyd, like, oh, we're buying Black and so everything's fine now. People are not even like, they're not hearing the dog whistles. They're like, what are you talking about? All he said was this. Like, they're not even understanding like what they're looking at, so to speak. And that almost ties back to like the media literacy, death of the journalistic standards thing too. It's like, how can we be on code, as you say, if we're not on one accord as to like what we're even looking at? So it is going to be harder. And yeah, the pack outs do happen like every once in a while. And it's like, it may be satisfying and punitive, maybe because we're just like American. I don't know, not Jeremy, but you know, maybe it feels good because of that reason. But yeah, nothing really comes of it. That's true.
The main thing we're uncomfortable about with Jeremy is that he's not American. Him being white is fine. The Canadian part is
that's too far. You know what I will say though?
You like, yeah, Jeremy young.
What I will say, especially, you know, I'll keep this limited as the white voice in this conversation. But what I will say is, I think part of the problem, and to your point of like the pack outs happen a lot and don't do anything, is you have to be willing to receive information and understand what your actions caused in terms of hurt or harm to another group of people. So what you see is a lot of people get packed out, but they don't think they did anything wrong, or they're not even willing to listen to what they may have done wrong. And I think a lot of the problem, for example, with Rory, the tweets were one thing, right? The offensive things that were said in those tweets. But I think where more people had even more of an issue with was the double down afterwards, rather than willing to receive the information of like, hey, there may be people that were hurt by what I said. There may be a new group of people who don't know me personally, who don't have a relationship with me, who have no idea who I am, who just see the things I said and don't know my intention behind anything else in my life. And they're hurt. And rather than hearing that and receiving it and being like, you know what, I fucked up. This was the X, Y, and Z, no excuses. I'll do better. I'm willing to receive. It's like the double down that I think we see with that. That was my big problem with Schultz, right? Like the Kendrick thing, right? I watched Billionaires for a very long time. The Kendrick thing to me was a line, because it was so disrespectful. And for someone who has claimed to have so much cultural nuance and knowledge in race and in other places that he goes when he makes jokes, to ignore what that joke was. But then the bigger problem was just to double down rather than to be like, that was a little too far. That was fucked up. A lot of people are saying that was a little too, okay, cool, my bad. I think we, as in the white community that may have been accepted into Black spaces, have to be willing to listen to the voices that allowed us in when we, and hopefully I don't, but if there's ever a time where I crossed some sort of line or I violated something that was that had sanctity to people and they feel hurt, then I'm willing to listen and be like, okay.
And I think that's actually a big thing to put out there, is that keeping it real, if you are a guest in the space, in whatever framework that might fit. I got an Indian homie that's a Pakistani homie that does hip hop media. And you got those types of L's on your resume, you might have to apologize for that every 6 to 18 months.
Yeah.
Like Fantano, whose L's really like at the end of the day, you compare is like it's not the same, but it is what it is. But every time it comes up, he's like, look, let me take this lump real quick.
Yeah.
Right.
And get back to business as usual. And like all Rory, because Rory of that whole like ne'er-do-well hip-hop media space, he's one of the few I've never had like, he's never occupied a spot in my mind as like that motherfucker. Like I've never, like so many of them.
Same thing with me. Same thing
Yeah,
with me.
so many of them I'm like, they're like, I hate all them dudes. But Rory, I was like, he cool, whatever. And like for him to come out and then like the double down, it's like, oh, that's you over there with them. And them niggas voted for Trump. Like I know they ain't got you on code at all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, so you have to be willing to, for as long as you have a career in the space, there are going to be new people that will find your old tweets or your old videos or your old reviews and be like, what were you on in 2011? And you'd be like, I was on some bullshit. I talked about it before. Here's this, and this moment. Here's what I learned. Here's how I changed. New video out next week. Like, it is what it is, and that's gonna be the be on cold part of the equation. Damn, we lost that again.
Yeah. Do we expect the same from Tyler the Creator?
I was literally just
gonna say we low key.
But hasn't he done that? Or am I wrong?
I don't have it. I have
like,
him saying he can't be canceled because he's been doing this so long, and that's true. I don't think he should be necessarily be canceled. I do think this year is a time for him to truly consider whether or not he actually wants to address this directly.
I personally think he should, and I spoke to someone who is a journalist in the space who said she said she doesn't think he will. And I mean, basically what I agree with what FD said, and I think that should be a blanket application. Like if you said some fucked up shit 10 years ago and it resurfaced and a whole new group of people sees it, you're gonna just have to apologize again for the heinous stuff that you said. Like that's fine. But I think it should apply to, because there was a larger conversation with Black women happening online that are like, okay, well, you could have covered up Rory's name and that could have come from any number of Black men we knew in the 2010s on Twitter in particular. Like the anti-Black woman sentiment is coming from like men of all races. Like it was the wild, wild west, like on the internet in that era. And but then Tyler just pops up, you know, with the Black band, high school band, and he's like, yeah, I'm with us, right? And it's like, no, you do have to kind of account for that, especially like this whole, I feel like the Chromacopia era, and the Don't Tap the Glass, and like the remix of Hey Now, he was basically saying, and coming out at the pop out, he was like, I'm a nigga and I'm Black. Like, yes, y'all put me in this weird category because you don't want all Black people to, exist in this space, or you want to call me pop or whatever, but like I'm hip hop, I rap, I'm from Hawthorne, blah, blah, blah. And then all this shit comes out with the Sig Heils and all this stuff. And it's like, bro, like that was
exactly what we thought.
Right.
I did not know none of this, but I do.
We all saw, so yeah, everybody over the age of 35.
Listen, I blame the fucking blog era. The fucking blog era, B, because the blog era, Hip hop before that, you came through the streets. I don't give a fuck if you was Public Enemy, Tribe Called Quest, Talib Kweli. You had to get through here. The streets are one of the greatest filters in the world. The blogs can let stuff happen and it just gets through. Like Tyler is dope. Tyler this God. That's why I don't fuck with Tyler. Like if you a this God, bro, I don't really give a fuck what you said about niggas. The fact that you a this God, you just a different motherfucker. Now, that don't mean I'm finna spend my days talking shit about you or none of that. But if I see you, I'm gonna press you. We're gonna probably have a problem. Cause I just don't think no motherfucker should even think that's okay. Like we got an automatic problem. But when people, and I remember that kind of wave when he just was like, hold up, nigga, I'm one of them niggas too, bro. This Hawthorne. And I was proud, BK. I was like, you know what? He is a little young Hawthorne, nigga. Yeah, I'm not fucking with it, but go on shine, young nigga. And sure as shit, here go that fucking shit. Like Doja Cat, you be like, I fucking knew it. Because there's no fucking way. And he can't apologize. He can't. He apologized, it's over. Right? But it's like, my problem be the niggas that still fucking with cuz. How y'all ain't slapped him in his fucking head? Just hit him upside his head.
I mean, even from like a cold, cynical perspective, I felt like it did not match with his current branding. I mean, he literally has a song on Chromacopia where he's grappling with the fact that he hated his hair because it was coarse ass black hair. So I just felt like this was the perfect era for him to also be like, I've unpacked a lot of my anti-black sentiment because a lot of people think it's just, you know, black people in the suburbs dealing with this shit, but it's not. I mean, anti-blackness is global. Like that could have just been a great moment springboarding off the project he just dropped. Not Don't Tap the Glass, but
and also with the multiple Grammy nominations.
Yeah, like, but you just show up at like a black high school and they're playing like I'm sorry, it just felt a little pandery to me. Not to say that he's not really there, but I mean, I don't know. That was a lot.
So the rebrand was actually Flower Boy. That was the rebrand era. Because it was because I was, you know, as a former edgy guy, I was too old. I was out of that space by the time Tyler was doing it. I was more like a Eminem, you know, he from the Midwest. He was real horrorcore adjacent. I can't remember his name now. Tech Nine, a couple of other folks. Yeah, you know, like a couple of folks in that era, you know, not Hobson, see. But Cannabis, I was a big Cannabis head. You know what I'm saying? That's like my first breakout hip hop video. So I said it to say the rebrand. So I remember him coming out and being like, this nigga is wildin'. You know, okay, all right. This is I love, and I was teaching high school, and I loved it for some of the boys that I like saw that was their. There's a lot of complexity around this that I try to add with nuance. As a person who's only been lukewarm, the only Tyler album I truly love is Igor, personally. I think that's Gen Z Love Below. That's the thing I've always said.
That's a good comparison.
And so like, but people like think I'm like a big Tyler fan. It's not that I'm a big Tyler fan. It's that I've been on so many sides of that conversation. Like as a black boy in the black suburbs in an era where there was no Tyler the Creator to kind of like attach to in any way. And then teaching in the hood, I was a teacher in the hood as Tyler was blowing up. And I saw those kind of alt adjacent, you know, autism coded, nerdy black boys that Tyler was a way for them to reclaim a part of hip hop and like black space that felt that they for a long time felt was excluding them, right? And then that gave an avenue to correct them. You know what I'm saying? And so I agree with BK in that now is the perfect time. I thought Tyler had addressed this in some form of fashion. I've been sitting here Googling. It don't look like he did.
No, he has. No, he's also done the double down.
He can.
And as he's, I mean, I think he's done multiple rebrands. I look at the Flower Boy era as the pivot when Tyler finally took Pharrell's advice and started making house music, which he means music that can buy you a house. And this is a quote that he mentioned. on his Rap Caviar interview right before Flower Boy. He put words to this. When I think about all this, it makes me a little more cynical than I want to be, because I want to believe Tyler is sincere. But Flower Boy was I'm bisexual one. The Igor is the I'm a
Love
Pop
Love
artist.
Below. That's the Love Below one. Call Me If You Get Lost is I'm a
Gangsta
I'm a
Grizzle.
gangsta girl rapper. And this one is I'm the black one, right? So he is moving. The only rebrand I see is music, selling music that's more palatable. And I do feel like with the message that he is expressing on Chromacopia, there with these things happening at the same time, it's a different context than any other situation.
Yeah.
Well, no, you got
Hold on, real quick. My homeboy said that Chromacopia is Mr. Morale for niggas from the suburbs.
Wait,
shout out to Lil Bill for that. Shout out to Lil Bill. That's his statement.
Yeah.
1 second applause.
But no, I think with Tyler, it's interesting. Not going to shock anyone here that I've been a big Tyler Creator fan since around Wolf. I know no one's shocked. But it's funny. I made a Hip Hop DX video. This was about 7 years ago. And I said, these 3 people will never be able to be canceled because of 3 separate reasons. Now, I have had 2 of the 3 be canceled. I said 50 Cent, I said Kanye, and I said Tyler. And I gave different versions of why I thought they couldn't be canceled. Tyler, my reasoning at the time was that he was willing to grow, and most of his audience was willing to grow with him. And he was okay with the fall off. So, for example, like if you look at early Tyler shock value stuff like Yonkers, where he's eating the bug, and it's like you could tell he's doing it for that purpose. And he's saying the F word and stuff like that. By the time Flower Boy rolls around, he may have lost some people, but a lot of people were willing to like kind of grow up with him and be like, okay, he's in a new era of music. Same with Igor. But what I will say, and I think this point is important that you made, Justin, with Chromacopia is, and you said this too, BK, is when he came to terms with his lineage, who he is, even within his own family, he deals with images of insecurity with his dad, growing up not loving himself. I think as somebody who loves watching a Tyler interview because he's so in his creative process, and I think he's very good at explaining it, I would love to see him also take accountability for this stuff and explain how he got from point A to point B in a long form interview. I don't think a tweet apology is going to do it for Tyler. I also don't think a one-liner on stage, but I do think he has the capability to explain, hey, here's where I was at that time. Here's where I'm at now. This was fucked up. I'm sorry for this, but here's how I've grown. I think it's possible. And I think it's necessary.
I want to say this one thing real quick. And I know we've got about 30 minutes left in the conversation. I do want to get to this Grammy thing. I don't want to switch yet with Tyler. I want to stay here because I think this is really interesting. I know you guys have some more things to say. I think the problem that I really have with what Tyler was doing is that lost in this conversation around, okay, well, what is the real consequence of Tyler selling Sambo shirts and giving white kids permission to say the N-word, is that at that point in time, to be a black fan of Tyler, you're also in a minority population. So Tyler is now subjecting all black kids, other black kids who might be into him, and who are now in populations at concerts, at school, and conversations with majority white fans, something they also don't share with the other black kids that they're going to school with, or the other black kids that are around. And their leader, their chieftain, is telling the white kids it's okay to say nigger. So now these black kids in these white spaces have to sit here and battle and deal with this, figure out how to navigate all my white friends telling me I can say nigga because the black guy I like who's like me told them that it's okay.
Yeah,
I need him to address that.
It's a mess.
No, and like it's an important story to tell, like almost kind of like, I don't know, because I also was a black kid growing up in the suburbs dealing with anti-blackness and really the whole like, why is my hair like this, like really in the pits of it. And I think like you said, Jeremy, a long form interview would be much better for that, because there, to FD's point, like there are nuances with how he came to be and like the space that he carved out for like weird black kids in fucked up situations to like feel good about. I think that getting the background, like knowing that he's worked these things out would make me feel good. And doing that in front of people, like doing that for an audience, because he did all the anti-Black racist shit in front of an audience, I think that would, it may not be an antidote, but it would be a starting place so that maybe other Black kids with that same internalized anti-Blackness can see that,
Yeah.
there's you know what I mean? Like he alludes to it by saying, I hated my hair. But why? What else? Like,
there's a big gap, and that's something that's a video in my head about it eventually. But there's a big gap in like the Black narrative around the fact that, like, I was lucky in that Chicago has a unique, like framework of like Black experiences. You know, maybe not that unique, but like,
no, it is. No, it is.
you know, it's somewhat unique though. You know what I'm saying? Like when I found out that people in my family all know all the major rappers that come out of Chicago, because like that Black petite bourgeois community, you were able to have like elements of the streets and like hard, we'll say high racial self-esteem spaces in like all Black suburbs. So I wasn't worried about, you know, dodging bullets in certain parts of where I was living, but I also wasn't surrounded by white kids where I developed a lot of anti-Black tendencies. But I was around it enough to know how that works, and that story is never really fleshed out. Those Black kids from the suburbs that have that weird experience are just kind of left out of the cultural narrative, and that's kind of what creates a Tyler, and it's basically kind of like leaving the door open for bugs to get in. It's like, we really got to go close that door. We got to build a screen door to handle this thing. It's not that hard. It just takes engagement. But I want to ask Glasses, why don't you think he can apologize? Like, what is his reasoning?
Just un-LA.
mm,
And he's a LA little nigga at heart.
So like in his core, he's never going to do it.
No.
Damn. Well, what's interesting is he did apologize for offensive tweets within a song. It just wasn't for that. Like I looked this up because I remember him saying something. He said, I was a teenager tweeting Selena crazy shit. Didn't want to offend her. Apologized when I seen her back when I was trying to F Justin Bieber just in. So
he apologized to Selena.
he apologized to Selena Gomez.
Selena. Yeah.
So you know,
That's on the
it's
song
possible.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think it's on the song Massive.
Where he's also
You know
coming to
what's
terms
funny?
with some of these things.
Yeah.
What's funny is I was explaining that to somebody, one of my Chicago partners, like the framework in Chicago creates a different type of situation for Black suburban kids. And that's not standard everywhere. Chicago and New York are kind of like that. But like,
DC,
you
Atlanta.
get into some Black suburbs, other places, you know, it might be different. You may not have enough Black people to kind of get, because Chicago, it's one of the smartest, most militant cities I know, right? Where you go and you could be in the suburbs and you not get ducking bullets, but you still with the niggas. You know, you still with the street culture that creates this thing we call hip hop. So Tyler, where he's from specifically, is like that. But if you don't socialize, you know, if you kind of getting caught up in the middle of other spaces or feeling unaccepted, something people don't know about me. I had a 4.6 GPA. I got a 1320 on my SAT. I mean, I'm sure Head and told you, Jeremy, like it's different. But I didn't let the streets reject me. I kicked ass until people understood that I was going to be me and have my opinion. And I was never going to let them push themselves off on me if it didn't make sense. And I was going to push myself off on them. And now you have a bunch of kids that have a platform that never were deliberately them on purpose in those spaces. So it's like now you're dealing with a vengeance, right? Because it's like somebody like Tyler is probably not gay. It's like gay facing. Like Lil Nas X. I think I told you, I think not Lil Nas X is gay facing. I genuinely think that these guys don't really give a fuck about anything that people hold sacred. They like, whatever. Like, I'm going to have fun. And I think that's where the disconnect comes from. And even right now with him apologizing, I don't think he quite understands why he felt that way. Even with this kind of concept of evolving through music, that don't mean the person is evolving. You know what I mean? Like, it's understanding how to deliver projects, music, and ideas, but I don't know if he's actually evolving into a place to where he understands what's really bothering him. And I think that's kind of the hardest part for him and a lot of kids today in that space where they like, yeah, quite, they was almost baptized in whiteness. And it's kind of fucked up because like we grew up at a time, Jay, like I'm an X. I'm the last year of the X. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, like, I didn't fuck with no rock. I didn't fuck with nothing but hip hop, Carl Kanai, Cross Colors, Magic Johnson, kicking the shit out of Larry Bird, Michael, just Eddie Murphy, just, you know what I mean? And it's like, you knew what it was versus, again, their experience is different. So I just don't think there's no space for Tyler to truly, like he can't. You know what I mean? It would be really hard. It almost would be un-LA because you kind of have to own what it is. So maybe the artistry and his connection to his fandom and to the people like to Jeremy and different people, it would allow it. But I don't think so. That's a little hard-throwing nigga at heart. You know what I mean? And he'll probably stand on the square. I think he does want to say some stuff, but I just think it's like, yeah, I didn't came too far. I mean, this God.
God is crazy.
It's like, upside, upside. Like,
if he can diss God, he can apologize.
Come on, bro.
Baptized.
He can take
He may be
accountability.
baptized in whiteness at first, but
Right.
you get really baptized.
He can get baptized in the blood of Christ.
You know what I mean? So, I just don't see it though. Somebody asked me what I talked to Tyler in the interview, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck would that conversation sound like? Like, imagine me talking to Cuz.
I mean, I think it'd be great though for all the things that you shared in this conversation. It'd be one of the most interesting LA conversations that we never see on any platform.
But it'll come across like pressing.
I mean, that'd be how you handle it.
Which is why
that would depend on how you handle it. Now, if you
only
want to
got
press
one year.
Cuz,
I was about to say,
well, Jay,
I don't know Glasses well, but that's not a man that's about to like. He don't seem like a dude that's gonna hold his tongue.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's what makes it interesting because Tyler's not that dude either.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, it's like it would be a press. So it's no way
we need to call Netflix right now. Actually.
Right.
That would be like that.
Let's make that conversation.
That's really the conversation.
That's what we need.
What's up with you, bro? Like, what's the deal?
It reminds me of Markman said a minute ago on one of these. He was like, one of the problems with hip hop media now is that everyone only goes for the layup softball interviews. Like nobody's going in there to dig through that shit. And people don't want to risk their access by asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
So it's all, the last semi like real big interview I remember was like Charlamagne and Kanye a couple years ago when Kanye was in the middle of his like second fit. Maybe it was his third. I don't know what number he's on, but it was before he got like irredeemable.
It was the same day, ironically, the same day that Charlamagne interview dropped, the TMZ Slavery is a Choice clip dropped, literally same day, within 24 hours. It was the craziest definition of Kanye I've ever seen in terms of like two sides.
Yeah, that might have been the last time Kanye really did black media, which is kind of the point.
Yeah,
that's somebody I would like to sit down with.
Yeah,
not at this point, because I'd be really on. Because like, what is up with you?
So that's what you mean. So that's someone you'd like to press.
Not. It's not press. It's just because it's not fair. Like, okay, Tyler demands a different energy, right? Like, does
he though? I mean, I feel like the distinction you're making. I'm not sure if 2025 Tyler.
I wouldn't know enough about his music to have a conversation outside of his behavior.
Research is at the tip of your finger these days, man.
That's what. If I was a journalist, if I was Justin, it'd be different,
But it's not even a journalist. If you want to have a conversation with someone, you should. It's not hard.
Kanye.
All I'm saying is you're putting up walls in front of yourself for this
Kanye,
thing. I think
I don't
really
need
great.
anything. Kanye, I know it. And see, it would be interesting. You know what I mean? Like Kanye, like I'm not an interview guy, but like I don't know, man. You know what? I would like for him to just keep doing his thing. You know what I'm saying?
Lord,
I press. See, like, say Tyler. Ain't too many rappers I press just off the strength of I ain't gonna fake the funk on what my real background is. I ain't been in a fight since 8th grade. You know what I'm saying? Like, but Kanye, I press because I'm from where Kanye's actually from. Like, me and him got the same like background, so I wouldn't feel out of place pressing Kanye. It'd be like pressing a nigga that grew up down the street from me in the same, you know, black suburb with mothers with extra degrees and shit, and fathers that ain't around enough. Like, there's no reason for you to have ended up where you at, Kanye. There were many ways out.
Would you do it if he was wearing a black hood?
I would snatch that shit off so quick.
Crip gang, I can hear me telling you, take that shit off, cuz stop playing.
Right.
But nah, like I just don't think there's no way he could really apologize. I just think he just, and that's why he's not.
I think BK said it perfectly. It's not even about apology, but it's an acknowledgement. I think an acknowledgement is something that actually fits where creatively he seems to be now, and the things that he is talking about and sharing with the world about who he is and the things he's advocating for in his music on in multiple ways, but particularly on this album of the year, best rap album of the year nominated project. I think that ironically, for this conversation to happen while he's doing all this, and if he doesn't acknowledge it, that makes me think more about him, his real pivot being making music that could buy him a house. And I think that's really sad. I think it's really sad. I want to get this last segment in here. We're in Grammy season. Grammy votes are going out in the next week or two, I think it is. So those of us, or those who are voting members rather of the Recording Academy, will be voting for Album of the Year and Best Rap Album of the Year and all the other categories too. But for this conversation, we care about Rap Album of the Year and we care about Album of the Year. Now, Album of the Year is crazy because there's more hip hop in this Album of the Year than ever. You have GNX is nominated. Actually, let me put these on screen. I do have these here. Can I upload a thing? Oh, I can. Good. So yeah, here we go. So here are the nominees for Album of the Year. Album of the Year, we have WTR Mas Photos, Bad Bunny. We have Clips, Let God Sort Them Out. We have Justin Bieber, Swag. We have Kendrick Lamar, GNX. We have Lady Gaga, Mayhem. We have Leon Thomas, Mutt. We have Sabrina Carpenter, Man's Best Friend, with the craziest cover. I remember that cover came out. I was like, okay, she is not on Disney no more. And then Tyler Creator, Chromacopia, nominated for Album of the Year. Now, I look at this, and the first thing I say is, one, that's dope, because I think it really does represent how great this past year was from an album standpoint when in hip hop, right? Even away from the albums, but from at least for me, I'm a lyrics first kind of guy, and there's so many things I'm excited about that are bubbling under the surface that really captivated me. And then from a mainstream level, these are great representations, right? I look at the rap albums that are on here, but I also see a lot of hip hop in general. There's hip hop all over. Leon Thomas, Mutt. Bad Bunny to me is in the hip hop umbrella, even if he's just doing it in Spanish and in different versions of it. Justin Bieber, obviously, I mean, he even called his Swag. Look at that.
That's hella weird, bro.
Lil B is Grammy nominated for Album of the Year.
I know, it's such an old dated word, right? But these are the nominees. And the other thing that stands out to me with this is it almost kind of feels like a setup, because there's so much hip hop on here that I think it actually fractures the vote. And so when I look at this, I look at this as a Bad Bunny, Lady Gaga, or Leon Thomas to lose, and I think it's going to be Bad Bunny, to be perfectly honest. But those are my early reactions when I see this. What do you guys think about this category, and who do you want to win?
So I think GNX has a strong chance of winning, because I'm thinking about just the Grammy awards, like the nature of the awards is very much like it's a clout thing as well. It's a deserving thing. It's not specifically like whose record is the best. And the era Kendrick's in is something, I don't know if this has ever happened before. Like, I don't know if a rapper has ever been as big and universally as acclaimed as Kendrick has been for the last 18 or so months. And so it
Never.
wouldn't.
Never.
I don't think ever. Like there's been runs and waves where the streets was like, this is the greatest nigga to ever do it for like a 3-year period. But like the industry and like the media, especially like mainstream media, was not quite. They were more interested in MC Hammer, right? Like MC Hammer and Public Enemy are in the same era. Never shouted to cross for like a several-year period. He's both right now. You know what I'm saying? I hope that doesn't come off like shade, like he is. So I think he could very well win. I almost guarantee he wins a rap album. But if he doesn't win, it's either Bad Bunny or Lady Gaga. And I have never heard a single Bad Bunny song ever. I didn't even know Lady Gaga came over the album. Shout out to Lady Gaga. I'm sure it was great.
Yeah, this list reminds me of the whole monoculture conversation we were having. I remember looking at the nominations being like, I just haven't heard a lot of this stuff. Like I feel just bad even saying it was one way or the other, because I'm like, I just haven't heard. Whereas like when I was growing up, like I knew Poker Face or Paparazzi by Lady Gaga. Like you knew what the pop song was. So I don't even know. I hope GNX gets it. I would love for Clips to get either album or rap album of the year. That would just be awesome as a legacy act. Like that would be so fire. But I think they're probably gonna give it to Bad Bunny or Sabrina Carpenter. I know she's really big. I haven't heard anything off of Man's Best Friend, but like I see that little blonde white girl everywhere, so I feel like
she is. I don't know. I've never heard a song of hers, but I cannot escape this skinny little blonde girl.
Right.
Doing
standing up to the White House stuff.
Yeah, I did. That was fire. But so I don't know. But I know Bad Bunny's also doing the Super Bowl. So, there might be something going on there where he gets the album of the year and the Super Bowl thing. So
have any of these people won a best album Grammy? Because if Lady Gaga's won one before,
or maybe Lady Gaga, I'm not sure, but otherwise, no one else.
If Lady Gaga's won one before, then she's out.
No, she hasn't.
She has. Okay.
So
she's now my front runner. So my front runner is now Lady Gaga, because a lot of these awards, like I said, it's like who deserves it more.
Like when Beyonce won, they're gonna do the give you your moment.
Listen, we owe you a moment. We had, because it was somebody else's turn a little while ago. So you.
Well, I mean, by that logic, though, I mean, you could argue that Kendrick falls into that category as well.
True.
I mean, you have he's probably he has a Pulitzer Prize before he has an album of the year. And he got the Pulitzer Prize on the album that most people think followed the album that should have been the album of the year.
That is very much how they work, actually. Combine that with his dual status right now.
And also, when you think about Kendrick in general, you think about him as an artist at this point in time, too. And one of the things that I personally feel like is a challenge for rappers and MCs when it comes to the big 4 awards at the Grammys is they look at them as just rappers. They look at them as not full musical experience.
It's not real music.
No one looks at Kendrick and thinks about that anymore. And truthfully, the only thing that keeps me from thinking this is Kendrick's year is that there is so much rap on here. And that's what I see when I look at the Recording Academy. I see all the people who are signed to labels under Universal, or all the people who are part of Academy who are in the Universal system, versus all the people who are signed to the label Warner, or versus all the people who are part of the Academy in the Warner system, versus all the people who are signed to Sony, and all the people who are part of the Academy in the Sony system. And then looking at where their collaborations are and voting for their friends. That's what I look at. I think the best thing that this has going for it is that there's no country, because country votes in a block. And that's why a lot of times they'll sneak stuff. So there's no country over here. So to me, that's actually advantageous. But since there's no country,
how many freelance old white voters are there? Because that's what I think pushes Kendrick over the top.
I'll say this, a lot. Okay, there's a ton. But here's really the difference, though. I think one of the things that GNX really has going for it, too, is that Jack Antonoff is on it quite a bit. And Jack Antonoff is Taylor Swift's writer. He's one of the biggest writers in pop on the production side. So I think that's actually in his favor, too. But your original point about whether or not whose turn it is, it actually that gives a good nod to GNX. Now, the one reason why I continue to think, the second reason I think Bad Bunny is well positioned is because sometimes the Grammys and the Academy and the voting body likes to make a point, right? And we're in a very anti-ICE. Bad Bunny is about to do the Super Bowl too. He didn't do dates in the States because, you know, he didn't want police running up and arresting his fans. And he's the biggest artist in the world, period. You know what I mean? And this album is
listen to some of his songs.
He's so big, you've probably heard a song of his. And
has he got something on Fortnite? Have I been playing Fortnite with my son and heard a Bad Bunny song? Because I'm pretty sure
he probably. I would, you know. Oh, you guys.
Oh, sorry, my bad, Jeremy. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm with you, Justin. I think I would give this to Bad Bunny if I had to place a bet on it. Which I'm not promoting. There is no gambling ad on this, to my knowledge. But I would place a bet on Bad Bunny. It's interesting when you look at like, I don't think this is Lady Gaga's best album. I don't think this is Sabrina Carpenter's best album. Her last album was better. This isn't Justin Bieber's best album. This isn't Tyler, the Creator's best album. So that kind of, to me, narrows it down. A lot of people wouldn't say this is Kendrick Lamar's best album. It's probably his biggest moment. But a lot of people could argue this is Clips's best album, Leon Thomas's best album, and Bad Bunny's best album. So I would kind of narrow that down. I like Leon Thomas's album enough that I actually would be willing, if I would think about voting for it if I was on this board. But I just think the moment that Bad Bunny is having is beyond anything music. And I do think they'll crown that rather than trying to like retribution and give to Kendrick or give to Gaga right now.
Well, I think the only other rappers to ever win the best album are Outkast and Lauryn Hill.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those albums are barely rap albums.
Yeah, that's why, and that was kind of why I was bringing that up. So the dark horse here might be Chromacopia because of that.
I can't see. I feel like Chromacopia GNX will split votes. I feel like Chromacopia Clips. You know, anybody's going to vote for them. You know, the people who would vote for them are the same body, right? I mean, look at this. I mean, that's Sony versus Universal versus Rock Nation. That's what that is.
I love how Justin sees the matrix on this shit.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
GNX is the biggest and the best album here. Biggest.
I don't know if it's bigger than WTR Mass Photos globally, but I agree with you.
It's bigger. It's bigger records. His best album. It may not be what people think, but it's by far his best album. It's at the perfect moment. It's bigger than every album here. It's better than every album here. It's more successful than every album here. This is his year to finally get that.
Yeah.
Let's hope so. Before we run out of here, I want to talk about Jid.
Well, hold on. We got one more second to really do that. Since you want to do that, I agree with you. Let's take a look. I didn't download these images for nothing. We're gonna use these images I downloaded.
GNX, this is the year, big dog.
Yeah, let's hope so.
Yeah, I guess Luther alone, like Luther broke all types of records. Yeah.
So I just want Jid is the album. The Jid album made me the happiest out of all these albums. Like, even though like I don't think it was as good as the what was the one right before this?
Forever Story.
Forever Story. Yeah, it wasn't as good as Forever Story.
Not at all.
And it wasn't like of all the big albums, the only album that I thought was probably more overall disappointing was Joey Badass.
Tomato. Damn.
My prediction from last year didn't come true with
I wanted it so badly for him too, man.
I wanted
it for Joey Badass.
Me too.
But just some about the Jid album. It might just be the paradoxical ATL person I am now as an adult. Like I grew up in the South Chicago suburbs, but like I probably didn't become who I am today without running around Atlanta in undergrad, running in hole in the wall clubs, walking through the SWATs with my headphones on. I realized I should have got robbed. And so like so there's so much Atlanta in that album in a way that I haven't heard since old Outkast that is just I'm rooting for it. And you know, that skate song that also made it to the Madden soundtrack, that's been in such heavy rotation with that Atlanta bounce. You ain't never been to skate. Like that's a sound that raised me when I was a whole ass adult still. Mm-hmm. And so I just want a reward for it.
Mm. I mean, this looks like GNX. I'm actually this album to me, honestly, is the one project I'm disappointed was nominated for Best Rap Album. You know, I actually feel like if they had strategized better, that's Chance the Rapper's spot. I think Starline is a much better album.
That's still my album of the year. Personally.
Starline is an incredible album. It's
really great album. But I did love Jid's album. But Starline is above it for me. I
didn't love Jid's album. I love songs. I love Community. I love Skate. You know what I mean? I feel like he tried to do too much. I feel like he wilted under the pressure of the pressure he puts on himself. He is someone who has been chasing, you know, the top tier his entire career, and I think that's what makes him great. And I feel like Forever Story got such an overwhelming response. It probably was received better than he might have expected to be. I mean, it's got Cody Blue on there. I mean, that's one of the best songs I've heard all decade. But with this one, he's got too many things happening. He's got too many motifs and illusions, and it stops and it starts and stops. It stutters quite a bit. And for all the things that Chance was able to tackle and conversations he was able to have on that project, Starline doesn't have that same challenge with cohesiveness, messaging, and ideas.
Chance has a song about going to fight people at church.
It's beautiful.
Literally.
And it's one of the best songs.
Letters, one of the best songs of the year. One of the best songs of the year.
Hip hop.
Starline was that was an important album. Starline.
Yeah, very important. He released it too close to the deadline. He should have either held it and then he could be out here having his moment just like Wale is having his moment, or he should have released it earlier in the year, but a week before the Grammy deadline. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to do it when you're independent at the same time. You can't have both.
Hip Hop Thriller, 7 Grammys.
You said
what? GNX?
Hip Hop Thriller, 7 Grammys.
GNX.
Wow.
I'm with it.
No album deserves it more. No album is better. No album is bigger.
You might get another shout out on stage.
No.
With one of 7.
Man, that was so special, bro. Because just for him to get 5 for one song, like only a Fifth Element song won that many Grammys. This is his best album. The maturation in it, the completeness of it, the records. Even like I wanted to, because I really love that Birds Don't Sing song. That's like my favorite song off that Clips album. And I'm like, man, this song gotta win. And the other day I was just playing TV off, and it's so simple and it goes by so fast, but it's so dynamic and complex. It was like, son of a, like, you know what I mean? I had to text him like, bro, this is stupid. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just proud he reached his pinnacle at the perfect time. 7 Grammys. Is he up for 9, right?
I believe so.
7.
Yeah.
7. You know what I mean?
Which tour is he losing? What's he losing, G?
Album of the year? Or which?
Album of the year, rap album of the year, Luther, 2 for TV Off. I think it's 2 for Luther, 2 for TV Off.
I guess he's probably losing to himself, right? Because he's up against himself in a couple of categories.
Yeah, one of the categories with the Clips song.
Right.
That's a bad album, man. That album is tough, man. That shit is really, it's some crack in that album. It's really, really, really good, man. And perfect time. And I know I hear people all the time talking about other records, and I'm like, bro, those records don't compete with this record sonically. Like, fuck all that dialogue and narrative. Like, this drives the point home simply with records. It's like Thriller or Marvin Gaye. What's going on? Like, it didn't need the dialogue. You got the point. And the job they did on the production front, like, you know, shout out to Jack and Soundwave and Mustard and everybody who contributed, Larry J. and Kendrick producing on a lot of the songs himself to make sure there was this continuous kind of thing happening sequence wise, and it's just a very dynamic project. I'm gonna probably play this project a lot for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like it's that really good. So there's no reason. It very much is hip hop Thriller. You know what I mean? It very much is at this really different time. I mean, obviously you need Thriller, you know, to sell another 6 million. The Thriller video, you know, you need Hair Catch on Fire to sell 30. You know what I'm saying? But like pound for pound, this is that kind of record. You know what I mean? It's that special. You know what I mean? It's really that good.
I love GNX. I wouldn't go that far to compare it to hip hop's Thriller just because of the songs on Thriller. I think are all timeless songs like that are beyond even Michael. Like everyone knows every song. I love GNX, but I think Luther is that song. I don't think it has 5 other songs that are going to think 10 years from now.
I think
Turn the TV off. TV off.
TV off and Luther.
I think Whacked Out Murals still hits that for me. And then also, well, no, in terms of like comparing to Thriller, it's those two. But like the staying power of I don't know the actual name, Peekaboo. Like the staying power of Peekaboo. Because that was a song like initially I kind of went.
It's a shocker.
Yeah,
I guess everyone will remember that what they talking about.
So the thing about Thriller isn't Thriller without a couple moments, right? Thriller. Remember when Thriller wins the Grammys? You know, it's not necessarily the Thriller we see today. You know,
it becomes Thriller over time.
Took time. You know what I mean? Like
it's hard for me to imagine that people heard Thriller, and didn't feel like when I heard TV Off and or a better example, Not Like Us. I knew that was a momentous occasion. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I knew I was going to remember where I was the first time I heard that. And I was too young to have experienced that with Thriller, but I can't imagine that wasn't a similar situation.
I mean, sometimes we forget the value of Squabble Up. Like there's these little small things, but you know, sizing up Thriller is 2 to 3 times platinum, you know what I'm saying, before they pull out the Thriller video, which is the last single. You know, you talking about a single that comes out in December. It's 2 to 3 times platinum. And then they put out this Thriller video with the help of MTV marketing it, and that sells another 2 to 3 million. Crazy. You know what I mean? Then he does a Pepsi commercial and his hair catches on fire. Now it's doing $1 million a week. So we could kind of fantasize the records a lot differently. You know,
well, what is crazy is that Kendrick has 0 market. Like, I'm not saying there's no label push, but if you look at like they had a Luther video, right? And
Squabble Up.
He hasn't done an interview besides maybe the Apple Music one for the Super Bowl. Like there's been no real campaign towards GNX besides people talking about how much they like it.
And the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. You got me there.
And all the Gatorade.
I think that's the point.
That it's called Halloween. Did you guys see all the people wearing Kendrick's outfit for Halloween?
Yeah, no, I take back the point.
That's an impactful Super Bowl. And also,
remember Michael Jackson, how he was.
He also had that Gatorade commercial going crazy though with Peekaboo.
But remember how he's marketing, you know, Michael Jackson. Remember he had finally went double or triple platinum, and he had these successful Hollywood stars present him his double or triple platinum plaque. Like he did a lot to keep that thing going, and Kendrick is not really participant. Like he's not, you know, I don't quite know
You know what I mean? And
I'm not asking because it's more like, well, I don't really care. I like it. You know, I don't care who else discovers it. But when I tell you it's hip hop's Thriller, it's hip hop's Thriller. Like this
I definitely vote for that. I definitely vote for GNX to win Rap Album of the Year. I remember where I was when GNX dropped, and I feel like when songs or albums or movies or whatever, when media has like that effect where you're like, oh my God, I remember exactly where I was, that is something special. And I felt like, you know, a lot of people said that it didn't have, it wasn't like a big thematic body of work, considering this is the same guy that gave us like Mr. Morale, right? But I did feel like there was still a theme throughout that was like him being like, this is regional rap, like this is what I'm doing, I'm putting on people from where I'm coming from, but also like I'm putting rap on my back. Like I think yesterday somebody whacked out my mural. Like I'm so pissed that people are not taking this seriously enough. Like tell me why you think you deserve greatest of all time. the fuck?
I
Like,
love
I'm
that. I
telling you
love
why
that.
I'm laying out my whole case, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think so for rap album, that has to get it. And I think it'll, with time, people will come to love it in its totality. I still view it as like, although the songs sound so different, like you know, you've got a Luther and a TV off and a reincarnated. Like nobody's
Crazy.
making a reincarnated. Like
Nobody. No,
nobody's
I
making that song.
not many can.
Yeah.
Not many
That's a
can.
Not many
fact.
can.
And
Not
it's
many
like he
can.
dropped it like very, and I know I listened to bits and parts of DJ Head mentioning, obviously it was planned and things like that, but it was a very like quick drop. Like, you know, when he's speaking very presently about like what's going on, and it puts this period to this beef. Like he just beheaded the giant and then drops this album and then Luther's on it. And I mean, just like generational, I think to like Glass's point, like the maturation, like this is someone that's obviously been like fine tuning his skill to a point. He can put out such a succinct body of work on a random, I don't know what day it was, but it was like, I was at a coffee
Thursday.
shop just doing, yeah, it was just, and people were like, oh, it's a video on Instagram. Oh shit, it's a whole album. And he's
We still haven't even got the song of that.
Right.
Yeah, can I say this real quick?
The album came out before the teaser.
Yeah.
right.
I saw the album before I saw the commercial for the album.
Right. Yeah. So
Can,
I mean,
can
it's
I
iconic.
ask Glasses, Justin, Jeremy, people that are locked in and journalists, when are we getting the deluxe edition so I can hear bodies for real? Because
I ask this question every single week.
Where is the tiramisu?
Never,
why would he do that to us?
never.
This is why I'm
Never do it.
Why are we
Leave
never
it
getting
alone.
it? It's a real tease? It's a real teaser.
I don't know. I just hope he never leave it alone. Sometimes you just leave things alone. This
That
is like
is.
special. It gets right to it. It's not dragging. It's perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember I wanted him to shoot a video for Dodger Blue at the Dodgers, you know, parade. I'm like, yo, you shoot a video for Dodger Blue at the Dodgers parade. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like I don't want him to bail on this record because this record is worthy of living for 24, 36 months.
We gotta get some
Right.
more music videos at least. Like I think that I want to see the vision. What does Kendrick or his team think these songs look like? Like what would a reincarnated music video look like? Or even like a Dodger Blue. Like I definitely want to see it come to life a little bit more.
I think it's so many people that this album hasn't reached. And I would like him to reach this because this is what they need to hear from him.
You know what I feel like people, sorry, Justin, I was just going to say real quick that people miss about this album because a lot of people categorize it as this West Coast regional sound. And, you know, they mention the TV offs and the squabble up, but I feel like it doesn't get enough credit for the depth that it has. Like if you look at how deep Kendrick actually dug into his own career reflection on the Heart Part 6, the real Heart Part 6 and Gloria, like you don't really see Kendrick looking back at his journey as much as you did on this album. So yeah, you have the hit songs and you have the Luthers and the TV offs and the squabble ups, but you also have the reincarnated, the Man at the Garden, the Gloria, the Heart Part 6. Like when people look back at this album, I think they will see in totality it is one of Kendrick's best.
Yeah,
100%.
brother, like it's really, trust me, I'm harsh as a critic. I don't give a fuck if it's the homie, bro. Like this is really fucking good. And I was like, son, like, you know what I mean? And he's like, man, I had to grow up. And I'm like, dog, this is really fucking good. And
It was also a
everybody
phenomenal
was
concert too. I went to the show and we stood
Yeah.
up the entire 2.5 hours. Like everyone we were just hoarse. We were just, I mean, there's not many concert experiences you even go to these days that you just are hanging on to this person's every word and the visuals and everything. That was, I mean, he performed the heck out of all those songs. Phenomenal show.
Real quick, I know FD has to step away. You have a question here from a super chat, FD. You want to tackle this before you bounce?
Within 3 co-texts of media and journalism, do you think there's room for debate coach to pull people to the left? No, I don't believe in debate. Debate is entertainment. There's a select few people that when presented with a charismatic debater and a great debate performance, they will subsume themselves into the fandom of that figure and then follow that figure's lead into wherever it goes. But that's a dangerous paradigm to base a political or cultural movement on. People are changed via community action and engagement. So, like, you know, Hassan is a great debater. Hassan's effectiveness in terms of pulling people to the left is actually from his engaging with his community and the policing of that community, which is also one of the biggest problems and flaws, because it's big and it's a mess and it's full of people that maybe aren't ready to even be in Hassan's community. It causes problems. I'll leave that some other time. But the idea that, I said this in the video, if issues of anti-Blackness or anti-hip-hop or insert whatever thing here were a matter of people just not being presented with the best information, we'd have solved this shit a generation ago. We've known all this shit for a long time. People don't believe it because it conflicts with their sense of who they are. And the sense of who you are is connected to the community you belong to. So we have to engage with the community to fix that. So, yeah.
Word up. Also, if anybody else needs to leave at any point in time, make sure that you stay in the backstage until your audio and your video fully upload to StreamYard. It'll let you know when it's finished. That way we'll have the clearest audio and video from each of you as you leave. FD, you out?
Peace and please, y'all. How do I do that?
My brother, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. FD Signifier, the one and only 9-second applause. So when you can remove yourself from the stage, but if you look at the recording tab that's on the right, or I think it says recording. Let me see, how far along are you? It says it's uploaded. Yeah. So what will happen is
I see it.
Yeah. So just leave it open. You can leave the stage. I can remove you from the stage. You can, but just leave it open, and they'll tell you it's 100%, and then you can close it.
Got you.
All right. Cool.
Peace, y'all.
Peace, bro.
Peace.
Okay.
Justin, I'm just going to the restroom for a sec.
Okay. Cool. Those are the main topics. We do have a couple of super chats here I want to get to. Let's get to some of these super chats. If you guys have questions for anybody on the panel, super chats, we're going to take those first. I've got some more questions I do want to just talk to, the three of you about things that you guys are working on, because I do think it's really important that people get a chance to know you guys a little bit more, but also understand just really how phenomenally talented, you are. I want this platform was created out of a sense of community. And I feel like there's a lot of us out here who are roaming through the wilderness, just chopping down ideas and trying to make an impact. And all the people I grew up admiring and all the people that raised me did so as a part of a community. Hip hop is culture, but it's community too. So that's one of the things that's really important to me. So super chat. LMAO, Curtis Queen got left off the panel for being a sassy backpacker, hashtag status king now. It's funny that that's the first one, because at the end of the day, we get status currently being visited by the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future.
Oh my God.
That's like a running subplot of today's stream, which is pretty funny. And it happened right when Stat was about to talk about.
Stat was finna stat.
Yeah.
He was about to stat.
Thank God. God got involved.
This one right here had me dying. My man said, this is Sound to Doomer 253. The ancestors stayed stat quo from saying something stupid. I agree.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
Because he tried so many times.
Wouldn't let him get it out. And G called him.
I was just pressing the button on him.
No, we're not today, man. Not today. We got some good things coming for you. Do not ruin it today. Restoring the Feeling says, no matter the issue within the culture you speak on, it's going to continue to come back to you. If it ain't kicking no ass, you are given a pass. G, what do you think about that?
I've been saying it the whole time. We don't get this version of Puff if he gets his ass whooped the first time. Like, we're not getting ass whoopings, bro. Like, and then it gets so bad now that one ass whooping ain't gonna fix the problem. But an ass whooping is corrective behavior if applied in time. And that's kind of what's wrong with Neon. That's kind of what's wrong with Adin. For years, they've been able to kind of be these characters. And now if they get their ass kicked, it's a bunch of people trying to tell them it's cool and so forth and so on. And then you protect them. But if people would have kicked their ass a long time ago. I asked Charlamagne, like, why you didn't kick his ass when you had up there? He's like, Glasses, this is my job. I'm like, so what? Kick his ass. Like, sometimes people just need an ass whooping because they don't understand that they have done something wrong till they get their ass kicked.
I mean, it was interesting to see. It seemed like maybe the first time he's received like IRL pushback was in that space. Like when Jess Hilarious was like pulling up all his stuff and was like, okay, so you're in the presence of Black people now and your chat spamming like gorilla emojis. Like, what do you have to say? And he was so, I don't know, you could just tell he had probably never been like confronted by like real Black people like that before. It was weird.
Well, one of the things that happens with situations like that is, you know, they're connected to some sort of financial pivot. You know, Neon has a deal with Empire. He's putting together an album with Hit Boy. He's traveling around with all your favorite rappers. He was out there with Game this past weekend. You know what I mean? So it's like,
so what?
Wow.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just it screams.
No, I'm saying you can still kick his ass.
Right. Well, exactly. What I'm saying is, like, in terms of like this, but he's outside talking about how he's a different person than I was a year ago.
Kick his ass still.
Well, also, I think what's important to notice is how people. There's my cat, Kid Cudi. But what's important to notice is how people.
1 second applause to Kid Cudi.
Yeah.
great guy. How people interact with their own audience and how they control their own audience, because your audience is, at the end of the day, a reflection of you and your values. So if you have an audience that are saying these type of things to you, to Black people comfortably, it's because you've created a space that allows them to say those things comfortably. And if you're not moderating that and saying, hey, I don't fuck with that. If you're in my chat saying this type of stuff, get the fuck out. We don't want you as a part of this community. Right. Then I do hold you just as accountable as the person saying it.
1 second applause.
It's also true, like that that kind of brings like how media is audience capture now, and how like you can't really like the gripe about cancel culture like pisses me off so bad because like you cannot be canceled unless you're canceled by your audience. Like unless your audience unsubscribes and stops giving you money or whatever, it doesn't matter how many like think pieces or how many, you know, how much pushback you get, like you're not going anywhere unless your audience says so. So it's just, I mean, even if he did try to make a pivot, they would probably say, hey, where's my racist content that I was like subscribing to you for? Like it's a strange feedback loop happening.
Kick your ass.
Next one here. Shy Nose. Shout out to Shy Nose. 1 second applause. Why are the most popular content creators Drake propaganda heads and liars, e.g. academics? Balance is key is why I love Culture United and honest media. Thank you for the compliment. 1 second applause. G, you want to tackle that one? You're the OVO final boss.
I don't know how did I get this position.
Because you engage. You engage on a different level.
I be trying to be just honest or try to, in my mind, I think I be building. I don't try to debate. I really attempt to build on thoughts, but people don't come, you know, with a genuine desire to build. They just wanted to, you know, shit, it is what it is. But there's a space outside of hip hop where people exist and they want a voice that allows them to understand what's going on that feels more familiar. And while a journalist is a little bit more pure, they're definitely looking for more texture to the conversation. So you get these guys who kind of you feel like they're aligned with the culture, right? But they speak just like you. And Ak is a prime example of that. You know what I mean? Ak is somebody who, you know, built his business off of the war in Chirac. You know, not being from Chicago, not visiting Chicago, not understanding what's going on in Chicago, but giving this outsider's perspective of everything that's happening. And that connects to other people. You know what I mean? It's not like it's people from Chicago watching him getting information. It's people that are not in Chicago or not into the streets. So he becomes, you know, a voice or a translator for you know, for some reason. It's a lot of content creators that don't know a lot about the content, about the thing that they're creating content on. Like it's some boxer guys that I watch that I could tell don't watch boxing, but they may be the biggest boxing content creators. There's so many people in that space where they're creating content about something that they don't really understand. Like, and that's even in hip hop. These people, it's people that's creating content on gangbanging that know this much about gangbanging. And I mean this much. Even if they're involved, they know this much. But because they connect to they cater to an ignorance, I should say ignorance, because people don't kind of know what's going on. They're uninformed. It connects better versus somebody coming to me and me explaining to them gangbanging in its totality from a historical perspective. And here we are where you can have somebody talking about this and forgive me, but Drake represents the same thing. Like I've said it multiple times. It's like he's KFC to soul food. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people.
Not even Popeyes. You're never gonna give him Popeyes.
No.
Popeyes is closer to soul food than KFC.
But he's not close.
Oh man.
Not like negative. I mean, look. He makes a pop brand of rap music. Like it's not negative. I don't know why is this took Jimmy, why is this took negative? Like he said it 1 million times. And then if I say it, it's like class is just, and I'm like, bro, he says his approach to making rap records is like Michael Jackson making records. That's a pop approach. I remember comparing him to Madonna. I'm like, he'll take any genre and make like this digestible song for the masses. People felt like that was an insult. I'm like, bro, it's Madonna. Like she's one of the greatest pop artists ever. So, it's that audience, it's that group of people where it's like people looking for representation in the space. And it goes back to that conversation about Black people that feel like they're separated separated from hip hop because they're in the suburbs. Brother, you ain't that separated. Your suburban experience ain't quite what you think it is. You still Black. You know what I mean? And I think so you have a lot of kids growing up feeling like, well, I don't know if I connect with the rap kids. So, I'm going to go, bro, you're Black. Yes, you do. You know what I mean? Yeah, yes, you do. You're not that. It's hard for us to be that far away from street urban culture. Black, you know what I mean? What's the greatest Black suburban area that's so far away from street urban culture? You're not, bro. You go to school with some people. Come on, bro. You're not that far.
Right.
Oh, right. They kind of, to me, look for something opposite, like we talking about with Tyler, where you can see he's looking at other things. Just waters you down in this kind of way. And don't get me wrong, it works later because you connect to different audiences that connect to the same white shit you've been digesting. And it does make for some cool music. But it also makes you look crazy to Black people. When you be like, bro, what's up with you? What's up with you? Like, what's up with you, homie? Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and that's to me, like, Kanye is a great example. You know how I feel about Ye. He's in my top 5, but it's like, bro, who the fuck looked up to Marilyn Monroe in our era? Why would you look up to this old white fucking lady? For what? Like in Halle Berry's 80s and 90s? In Janet Jackson's 80s? Why? How did you
take applause for Janet Jackson?
Marilyn Monroe when Janet Jackson is here, when Halle Berry's here? Like, what the fuck were you looking through? Just looking through like the Old People's Magazine or the Time? What the fuck? How did you even find this old lady? I mean, you're looking for fucking, and then you get this other lady that's like, oh, she's the new Marilyn Monroe. Why do you fucking know who Marilyn Monroe is? You're from fucking Chicago. No fucking body else knew who this lady was. It's like you went out of your way to fucking be different. And sometimes it's not worth it. So I think there's a group of people, that's the talking heads you're referring to, and the propaganda, that are really like, we're just different. No, you're not. You're not fucking different. You just don't want the accountability of the things you're talking about. So you talk about things you're infatuated with, but you talk about them to an audience like you're informed. They're popular because most people don't know shit about the shit that they looking at. And here's some other dumb motherfuckers telling your dumb ass about some shit that they don't know, but you feel like they're a little closer, and they're not. And they're not. It's just fucking simple. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's the same reason why Kentucky Fried Chicken sells. You know what I mean? It's the closest thing you can get to soul food. You know what I mean? It's
Popeyes is actually closer.
Popeyes is better.
Popeyes is better.
Popeyes is it's Louisiana.
I mean,
Hey, come on.
Tyler is closer to
What are you talking about?
Popeyes, if that was the
They
case.
got a dirty rice. What are we talking about?
Tyler is closer to Popeyes. Then, if I was gonna go, like,
Popeyes is closer to soul food than KFC.
that's why I said
For
it would have to be like
sure.
Tyler. Tyler would be.
That's Tyler's. Tyler, you said Tyler's Popeyes and Drake's
Yeah,
KFC.
if I was gonna give it to somebody, like, right, it'd be
Okay.
Tyler's Popeyes. Drake is like
definitely
fried chicken.
Popeyes until he got some things to address.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Exactly. Now
know he
now
got
you
some
know what
things to
I'm talking
address,
about.
Tyler.
He ain't fucking with y'all. Yeah.
I can't wait for this to be clipped and us to be called the Kendrick Glazers once again. One of my favorite terms.
Oh my gosh, it
Oh
goes
my
so
gosh.
crazy. I got to show you
Best part,
guys.
they be like, you're talking shit about him. You don't even know him. I'm like, bro, I know the guy you love and the guy that.
They
Like,
tried.
but it'd be so great because I cater to. They be like, you're 62. I'm like, I'm 64, bitch. It's going like.
They tried to catch me up in something today. They tried to use Grok to reveal how I'm a secret Drake fan today. It went terribly for
That
them.
shit
What?
bro.
They asked Grok
be
how many
typing
times
up-
they asked Grok how many times I tweeted about Drake in 2025, and because it started like this. I'll show you real fast. I muted this shit because she don't have any value
Bro,
to add to.
they
the
did that to
conversation.
me.
But
They was
like-
like, glasses, like I've told
Dean
people
Mustang.
ample times I
Yes.
don't have a problem with this nigga. I have always been supportive of him. And then they like find tweets and they're like surprised. I'm like, bro, I just told you that. So
Check
you
it.
would think that would make them give my ideas more credence, right? Like,
Mm.
okay, he's not. They like, no, but you just changed your opinion. No, because I didn't change anything.
Mm-mm.
Check
How
it.
many
That's my
times
big
you
thing.
tweet about him in
like,
2025?
I always
Where is
tell
that?
people, and I've always been open. Drake's one of my favorite artists of all time. I've loved his catalog. He's soundtracked so many moments in my life. The only reason they call me a hater, and yes, I've said things that you could add to this argument as to why I'm a hater, but it's because of me disagreeing with certain things and calling it out after this battles in particular. And that's why now I'm one of the biggest Drake haters of all time, even though I will give so much more credit than a lot of people will. It doesn't matter. That's
This
why I
is
can't
funny.
argue.
So this person here, Beauvais de Don,
That's that
She
lady
said-
that be faking
she
like
said-
she from Counter.
I guess so. She said the fact that at the company man is afraid to post to Spotify or Apple Music is all I need to know. Drake is through and through that MF. And so I actually did a breakdown yesterday on the Company Man show, Monday and Tuesday, here on the Company Man channel from still working out the time, but it's about 2 hours every time. And so I did a breakdown. I'm like, here's a complete breakdown of my Apple Music replay. So this Drake fan can see how Drakeless my 2025 was. Because he ain't in there. The only time he's in there is February when the album dropped and I had to listen to it for work. And then when I was done, I stopped.
He didn't
that's-
have a good year this year.
He didn't
People
have a
are
good
on
year.
here like hallucinating. I also just thought about the whole like why are the biggest heads? I immediately thought of like Twitter and like post Elon Twitter and how like if you're really good at rage bait and you're really good at misinformation, you will be really successful on this platform.
Right.
And that's DJ Academics.
So then Mikey jumps in and he tries to catch me up. Hey, Grok, how many times has the Company Man tweeted about Drake in 2025? Based on the X search data, Company Man has tweeted about Drake 87 times in 2025. Not even a quarter. You know what I mean? It's not even every day for 3 months. It's just,
They
not-
can't. They going through a
can't.
tough time, bro. It's been a
This-
tough time for
They
them.
need a W.
So
You
there's
gotta
another
let
one.
that-
There's another one says, how many times this person replied to a post with Drake's name? 24 times. You know,
Bro,
Drake
it's
is not
that serious.
Drake
bro.
is not a central part of my content by any means.
It's hard.
Any
They're
means at
having a
all.
really hard time, man. It's really,
funny.
really hard. But I felt like that when Jay-Z lost to Nas. It was a tough time. You just didn't have social media to kind of complain about it.
Yeah.
Doomer253 says we need Kendrick in a video turning into a zombie bee walking with dancers, narrated by Sam Jackson. I'm not mad at that. 1 second applause.
That
the
sound like
Thriller. It's the
that
Thriller.
sound like Chopper.
I was
Yeah,
just
Chopper.
thinking that.
I know he did it first.
No, stay away from that.
Don't give him no ideas.
Don't get
Word
him
up.
out there.
Big shout out to these last two, Catherine and Mr. Marquise. 1 second applause. That's all I have for the show today, guys. Is there anything you guys want to talk about or anything you guys want to let people know where they can find you, what you got coming up next? I know, Jeremy, you got Passing the Torch series going right now, which is really, really great. Let the people
Thank
know.
you. Yeah, no. So if you guys want to follow my personal YouTube channel, it's in the headline here. I'm going to be posting hopefully weekly / bi-weekly on this series I'm doing called Passing the Crown, where Kendrick, Cole, and Drake's journey year by year, episodic. I figured I spent so much time thinking about these people, dissecting their lyrics. Let me just go back and one final time kind of close out this chapter before I begin really documenting this next generation of artists. I was like, let me for the one times, let me give a full breakdown of everything that's ever happened between these three. So you can go check that out now.
Word up. 9 second applause to you, Jeremy. I have no idea if that's really 9 seconds. I just kind of feel it out.
You never timed it?
I always wondered that.
Yeah, I kind of, it's actually my original radio show was Brooklyn Bodega Radio on pncradio.fm in Brooklyn, New York in 2010. Where I hosted a show every Friday for Brooklyn Bodega. They put on the Brooklyn Hip Hop Festival, and it was just me. They threw me to the fire because other people couldn't do it anymore. I had to put together a hip hop festival. And so I had to engineer. I had to
videos.
Right. I had to engineer the video. I had to engineer the show, host the show, come up with stuff to talk about. And I'm looking at this board with all of these custom drops that all the other shows on there. Combat Jack started on there. Two Dope Boys had their show on there. It was like a upstart community thing that was really, really dope. And I had too much other things to think about. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to use these applauses. So I had a baby cry, which is the equivalent of tomato. And then they had 3.7, they had 4.6 second applause, 5.7 second applause, and 9 second applause. And so I just used those and said the numbers to rank everything. And so that's where that came from. So now I'm still using 9. I just brought it back now that I have this and I'm doing live streams. So, it's an old thing. It's a new thing again.
Well,
but
it could be an 8.7 second applause for all we know, but we're rounding.
Yeah, but 9 seconds is the point. That's the pinnacle. There's 1 second applause and 9 second applause,
bro.
I love it.
That's the truth. G,
that is like Diddy, dog. It's just all in the videos.
All in the videos.
And it's only anytime I'm recording. I promise you, never hops on my chair, never hops on my lap. Doesn't care until the spotlight is on.
Yeah.
Ironically, his name is Kit Cudi, so the Diddy thing is a little.
Yeah. Right.
I see.
On the nose. Yeah.
Gonna be all up in
my C-Day is next Wednesday, so I'm doing a 7-day sale at www.thecripstore.com. 17% off. Get anything you want. Discount code GDAY, GDAY, one word. No Ceilings the podcast available everywhere. Apple Podcasts, iHeart Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast from. Executive produced by Charlamagne the God and the Black Effect Podcast Network. Lunch hour stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at the No Ceilings lunch hour by Glasses Malone. Check that out on YouTube. Subscribe to it. New music on the way.
Word up. 9 second applause. G Malone. That felt like 9. I think I got that right on the
That felt like 9.
BK, thank you so much for joining. Let people know where they can find you, what you have coming up next.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for inviting me on. This is awesome. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at LATM Pod. I do some short form content over there. And then I do my long form content on YouTube at Look at the Material with BK. I am working on a pretty big video about Kamala Harris coming up soon, and then a big deep dive into YoungBoy, because I think he's one of the most misunderstood rappers on the scene right now, and he's huge. He's a superstar and has been able to build a whole media ecosystem outside of the industry, which I think we will talk about it when he's gone, and I think we need to talk about it now. Obviously, people are now seeing it with the tour or whatever. But yeah, two big things. I talk about hip hop, politics, pop culture. But so on the politics side of it, Kamala Harris video is coming. I've got a lot to say there, and then a deep dive on YoungBoy. So yeah.
That's dope. You mentioned Shreveport. I guess the only artist I signed when I was at Empire was from Shreveport. His name was Willie Jones. He was a country artist.
I know Willie Jones.
Yeah, he's incredible.
He is like our hometown superstar outside of Hurricane Chris, because it's like you took it to the heights. We see you on TV, and now
he's on Beyonce's album.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know what I mean? Well, I'm thankful that you joined us today. Yo, you guys should have seen this behind the scenes, because Moni had to reschedule, sadly. I hope she's okay. And so I'm like, shoot, I need to get someone in here. And I reached out to BK months ago. I was like, yo, I really want to get you on Culture United. I love everything you're doing. I think your voice is really important. I think you're just a fantastic storyteller. You know what I mean? And she wasn't available then, but I went through a process to get. I hit her email on the YouTube. I was trying to get her on Twitter, which she hasn't touched since the first Trump administration. And then
I gotta get you my updated Twitter.
Right? Yeah, I don't have that one. And so, but we connected on Instagram, and I hit her today. Went away for like an hour and a half, and 5 minutes before the show, I looked back and she had responded.
Wow.
And so it all worked out. It's serendipitous. Thank you so much for everything you brought to the show today. I'd love to have you on again, of course. 9-second applause to you.
You killed it today, BK. That was MVP performance.
Thank you.
Word up. All right, Culture United 12. Is Culture United Wednesdays going forward? Every Wednesday, dope conversations. We'll have a revolving. I mean, you guys have been watching this for a while now. There's been, I looked up the other day, there's like 24 different people have been on here. We've had actors, we've had YouTubers, we have journalists, we've had all kinds of people. You know what I mean? I want to continue that. And I want to be more active and more intentional and have it much more frequently going forward. So you guys can look forward to that. Thank you to all the moderators for holding it down as always, showing up in here, managing the conversations. You guys deserve a 9-second applause too. And again, this shift doing lives on a live stream on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday is designed to free up my Thursdays and Fridays so I can bring back scripted pieces over the weekend. So you will get a scripted piece this weekend that I've been working on. There's a number of different products over the course of my career that have generated an audience of their own. And so I want to make it, you know, as easy and comprehensive as possible to, you know, really contextualize culture, my favorite thing in the world, and all the different ways that I now enjoy doing so. And so thank you all of you for being a part of this journey, and we'll be back Monday. I still don't have a time locked in yet, so I'm still experimenting with times. But I'll let you guys know. It'll be probably like 2 o'clock on Monday for a live stream, and you'll see clips of this over the weekend. For the panelists on the show, remember to keep your window, your recording open. I guess when I end the stream, you guys will still be here.
Okay.
Peace to everybody. It's all happening. Peace. Oh wait, I got the wrong thing. I gotta change the outro screen. I forgot there's a whole nother show. This got a whole nother thing. Okay, this is it.
Culture united, our culture united, our culture united, our culture united, connecting all over the world, connecting all over